Yes.
What's up, everybody?
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Wednesday night, our favorite Wednesday of the week, Void Jumpers. Thanks for tuning in on Book Time with Jesse and some of his friends who also learned to read. I've only got research, so I got nothing fun. What's up, everybody? How you doing?
Us? Oh, hello.
Whoa. Did you
What's
guys?
up? I'm just poking my head into the chat. I see Paximo. Hello. I see Rob. Hello.
Hello.
I see Fadior. Hello. I see a dog poking his head in the door. I'm going to try to stop that.
I cannot see chat, so you can be in charge of chat.
I'm gonna give my little spiel. We didn't go over our administrative stuff. I just got ready to destroy you guys today in the desert. That's what I spent all of my time doing. So I'll turn it over to any announcements you need to make after I give my little spiel here. Today,
Last time you threatened to kill a party member, you very nearly did.
Yes.
It's
So
just not
you
quite as charming anymore.
I've never been trying to be charming when I'm threatening the lives of your characters. I've been trying to relay accurate information so that you can act accordingly. The fact that you're not taking it seriously enough is something you need to come to terms with.
I actually feel like I'm in trouble now.
As long as you healed before this match, you'll be fine. And unlike last week,
I don't think I'm gonna
four
heal.
fails in a row. Okay, welcome to Void Jumpers. Today, we'll be playing Monster of the Week, created by Michael Sands. It's a game system that I love, based on Powered by the Apocalypse mechanics. This will be an actual play stream, but our focus will be on the characters and the narrative. So we've bent some rules, made up a bunch of our own stuff, custom brewed some of our own character classes, and just had a lot of fun with the great foundation that they provided in the book. So go get it and play it. That's it for that. What's up? We got any announcements this week? Those of you in this party that are smarter than me.
Can we announce
I hope
Saturday?
everybody's registering to vote. That's my announcement. Sorry, Lisa, I talked right over you.
I mean, you're equally as important, so you could continue.
That's it. Register to vote.
Oh, okay. Yes, register to vote. Can we talk about what's going on Saturday?
I hope so.
We have been invited to do a show at Gen Con. So we will be doing a one-off with these characters Saturday at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. I don't really know where you can watch it. Someone else might need to talk about that.
I feel like the person who's the smartest out of all of us and off camera will probably drop all the stuff that we forget to say into chat to save us.
He's already one step ahead of us.
It's going to be here. Zombie Orpheus on Twitch. We'll be hosting it. So yeah, for Gen Con. So you can catch an extra episode.
Yeah, this week. It'll be a one-off. So tell your friends. Just jump in. You don't need to have seen anything else in the past. We're going to be using our same characters because we love them, but the story will be self-contained to the episode. So just come join us, and it'll be a bit shorter than usual. It should just be a lot of fun. I've made some really funky stuff that I want to throw at these guys, and I can't wait to see what they do. Okay, unless there's anything else, I'm going to pull us into our round-robin recap here.
Ooh, good name.
Yeah, I also think that refers to, like, pirate mutiny, so we'll check, but we'll see.
I don't remember. I can't go first.
All right. Rex, what's up? What did you remember about last week that you feel is relevant to your character you want us to remember going into this week?
Definitely that I convinced the head of the company to hand over control of the ship to me,
Oh,
Field
yeah.
promotion.
which I was not expecting to happen, but was awesome.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that either. I kind of caught on when I saw what you were doing, but I was mad about what you're going to do to the characters, but happy for what you managed to do as a player. A field promotion to an executive. I think we'll explore what that means, the full extent of that, but in my brain so far, executives have been people like Shavana or this Miss Kale that are kind of like,
Evil,
well, just they're allowed to do kind of whatever they want.
reprehensible people,
Yes.
perhaps.
I remember when you first got that promotion, as I was watching the stream live happen, I was like, yeah, everything she's saying makes sense. Yeah, Chavanot does suck. Rex deserves this promotion. And then I remembered later, we threw a mutiny. Chavanot was just trying to get her ship packed together.
Look,
I
things
completely
don't
forgot that we absolutely started it.
they don't have to be mutually exclusive things, you know? She
Yeah, but
could
as far as
still
what-
have been about to do some crazy shit, regardless of whether or not we played nice.
Yeah, I
Well,
just think that you were very selective in what you chose to tell her.
Personally, I as Huck really appreciate it because had that mutiny not happened, I'd be in a lab somewhere getting dissected. So
True.
I appreciate it just for not being dead. So thank you again.
With that, let's jump to Puck.
I do want to say
sorry.
that I think based on all the fails that we had at the very beginning of last week's session, I think I have definitely leveled up.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, we'll just give you a move. If something happens today that makes you think that you want to be able to do something you haven't, just speak up and we'll hit it. I think I'm used to making these moves now. So, yeah, we're going to give you like a cool thing you can do. A little bit more reliable badassery. The last thing you got was called 6 stunts, right?
I don't know.
You could do...
I think we talked about that. I don't think we ever introduced it into the game. So if we wanted to, we could make... I was thinking that was still the thing that we were going to level up to.
Okay, yeah, so your new move is called 6 stunts. I based this off of Vin Diesel from Triple X.
Yeah.
It just allows you to do 6 stunts.
Great.
We got to get you like a surfboard or like a tray that you can use as a surfboard.
To grind down a handrail?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, so you could do 6 stunts, and we built some rules into it to kind of like present chances for her to epically fail, but also do really cool stuff. All right,
Great.
Puck, what's up?
So there was a lot of exciting stuff that happened, but Puck is such a quirky dude that really there's nothing as exciting as making new friends. And Puck got to make a lot of new friends yesterday or last session instead of having to kill anybody or put anybody time out. Instead, Puck got to meet Luke, Mika, Zaza, Fran, Zip, Big Mike, Serioge, and Hank. Great games of Crazy 8. Well, Rex was getting a promotion and Tag was being heroic and Bryn was doing magic and like really solving these problems. You know, Puck really just had to find where he could contribute the most, and that had to do with hanging out with the guards and really just playing some Crazy 8s. You know what I mean?
I do. I cannot believe you just again pulled those names out of the ether to remember them exactly as you said them last time.
I mean, you remember the names of people that matter the most to you? Oh, one other little thing. Like after Rex got back and gained control, she got her promotion, and then we were all on the same side. We ended up having a really great little pizza party, and everybody got to bring their own flair from their own cultures together, and it just was a real great team building exercise.
It was very sweet. You guys used a lot of diplomacy, and you diffused a lot of situations because there was a lot of bad guys on that ship who didn't want to let you have it.
Yeah, but who can say no to a variety pizza party with all fresh basil? It's just so nice.
I couldn't say no to that.
All right. What about you, Tag?
All right. Well, as far as grand scale stuff, Tag opened up a little bit to Bryn about his dark thoughts and feelings. He talked to her about as we were going to Bryn's home planet, there's a lot of talk about family and how Tag does not have a family. And he was talking about how when he felt that dark force inside him, it was the most sense of belonging or community or connectingness that he's ever felt. I'll take this opportunity I'm kind of reminding myself, because I always forget about this, as well as my fellow players and the audience, that I'm playing with a character class that has something called the dark side. And we've picked a couple tags. Oh, hey, I didn't even mean to make that pun. I'm so bad at puns. I make them, but never on purpose. The dark side. Your powers have an unsavory source, and sometimes you get tempted to do things you shouldn't. The keeper, in this case Jesse, can ask you to do nasty things in accordance with these tags when your powers need you to. And it gives some more, mechanics, but it's all to say that I don't know that I'll tell you what they are right now, but there's a long list of secrets, lust, dark bargains, guild soullessness, mood swings, greed for power, rage, greed for power. And he's got 3 of these, so I think we're starting to see these mechanics come into play a bit more. And then to balance that out, I remember being pantsed by Puck.
Oh yeah. And then I think I flung you around by your ankles.
I don't know. I guess I think sort of in a sense of self-preservation, I blocked out some of the more shameful things that you guys used my body for after my pants.
All right. That brings us to Bryn.
Wait, what about? Oh yeah.
What?
Never mind. I thought you were moving us onward.
Mm-mm.
I remembered. Okay. So I guess a small minor thing that surprised me, Lisa, as a character choice was when I made the cone around them in the elevator, I actually was worried about them suffocating. Not my normal style. So that was really shocking that Bryn actually cares for people that tried to kill her, which was cool. And then I think taking the lightning Eric's and sticking it in my pendant was very cool that Jesse, you let me do that. I don't know what it's going to do. I have no clue.
Me either. Easy yes from me. I love that kind of stuff. I will say that I took a note of you making that because we asked like where you were drawing the power from when you were doing the cage that you were creating around the villains. And you used the framework of the ship.
Yep. In retrospect, maybe not the best idea, but...
You mean tampering with the integrity of a spacefaring vessel? And then not addressing it before leaving in a dropship to a planet that you're cut off from all communication on?
Yeah.
Let me notes about that.
I mean, the idea sounded good in my head.
Just letting you know that I remembered some of that stuff too. And
why is your memory so good, Jesse?
I'll bring up one last thing. The one thing that I did when I was looking over the episode was that I remembered Tag rolled a beginning of mission roll. What is it called?
It is called Premonitions, I think. Yeah, Premonitions.
At the beginning of each arc, he will be doing this roll, and he will get a premonition, the flavor of which is determined by the success of his roll. And in this case, he had a partial success, which is a foreshadowing of bad events that have yet to pass. And the vision that he saw was of the throne room that he had seen in Bryn's memory before. And in the throne, a tall man whose chest was bloodied and his robes ripped. He was holding Bryn's mother's staff and laughing. And on the floor at his feet was a figure in the ceremonial summoner's robes with a pool of blood spreading around them.
Do you think that I know that it's a premonition of the future? If we were to flesh out the fiction here with tagging these premonitions, is this his first one?
You tell me.
Yeah, let's say it is. And I think that I can justify that by saying that something, that dark force that entered him at the Bloom planet, perhaps it left a little seed or it kicked open a, some kind of engine such that...
An elder seed?
Hey. Yeah. So yeah, let's say it's the first one, and I think maybe later on we'll learn in the scene what Tag thinks about it.
Sure. Because we're discussing it, the way that I've looked at it is that I do not decide the future of this game. I have some cool ideas, and I can do some stuff behind the scenes, but largely what happens in the future is based on your actions now and the consequences that follow them. And so any kind of premonition that is set up, that is how I'm viewing it. So you, having seen something for the first time, will be able to choose whether or not to believe it. And truth, I think, will be subjective. I don't know that you'd have any way to verify a vision that only you saw in your brain, but you would have a very strong feeling about it, I imagine.
Well, if I can get the brains that came up with the variety pizza party and some of these other devices to come together, I'm sure we could solve it.
All right. That vision, which we are discussing, happened as you were plummeting towards this planet in the Void Jumper, the first time we've seen it in action. A vessel designed to break through these barriers that are protecting these planets and cutting them off from all communication and travel. Your Void Jumper crash landed in the middle of the desert, which is where we're going to be picking up. The door has just decompressed and blown off of its setting, and you are now looking out onto an endless dune sea. I have a couple things here for you. In the distance, there is a machine, one of gargantuan size, plated in thick armor, sitting idly along the crest of several dunes. From the looks of it, for sheer size and presumed power, it might be capable of drilling to the very core of the planet. Ribbons of smoke trail away into the sky. It is the only thing resembling a structure or anything man-made. Everything else in every direction are dunes and sand, and they go on for a long way. What do you do?
Bryn, I must say, your home planet is very lovely.
Oh, wow. Well, also, I didn't thank you for taking that bullet for me. Thanks so much earlier. This is.
It's got all
Just
these.
don't judge it yet.
Oh no, I like all the little rocks. It's great, and big skies, and yeah.
Oh boy, are you in for a treat when we get to my hometown?
Speaking of which, what's our plan? I don't feel like we've landed too close to any civilization or structure. Do you, Bryn, recognize where we are?
I have not been out in this section before.
We'll call it the wastes.
The wastes.
They're referred to as the wastes.
Want to try to use the nav to figure out where we are?
Yes. So, my palace, where I'm from, my town, is in the northern hemisphere, and so we just need to head north.
Oh, I hope we got the right hemisphere. I feel like because we're walking.
Well, it gets real hot, so we're going to have to try to find some way to get there other than walking.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's just, if we might not even be in the right hemisphere, it just I'm looking to put a 1 to 10 number on how freaked out I should be right now.
Well, is this like we parked 8 blocks away situation, or we've parked like 8 planets away situation? Like, should we just get back in the ship?
Void Jumper will not move. It is a drop ship only, and only hits the ground and stops. So
okay, I'm gonna kick it. Should I roll?
Yeah, please do. It is going to be a kick some ass.
Okay.
Oh no.
What is my toughness? Understandably low. Okay, that's an 8.
An 8. On an 8, you and whatever you're fighting inflict harm on each other. So you deal 1 harm to the Void Jumper, which does not pierce its armor, and you take 1 harm, which pierces yours because you stub your toe.
Okay. Oh no, the ship has attacked Tine.
You said there's a structure in front of us.
There is a very, very large mining machine.
Hey.
Yeah, okay, so this is the way that I want to set this up. I'm going to provide a little bit of information, Bryn, and then because this is your home planet, as we go to different planets that each of your characters are more familiar with, I'm going to be calling on you a lot to help me fill in the blanks. I think it'll be a lot more fun, and it'll also keep me on my toes. This is the first time we're doing it, so Bryn and I will be doing kind of a trial run. We've talked a little bit about stuff, and I've also just filled in some blanks. So I'm going to present you with what I think your character knows, and then ask you to fill in the rest.
Okay.
This is based on you seeing this mining thing in front of you. For decades, the fire summoners have kept the company away from their people, the cost of which was near unfettered access to the minerals and mining assets of the planet itself. Bryn, how much has your mother told you about the company's presence in the wastes?
I think we were just told that there was a company that was there, and they're doing the dangerous work because that area is uninhabited, and these are trained specialist people that can deal with the heat, and they're basically like, what would be like fire jumpers or like some really dangerous job. And so we kind of look up to these people. We're like, awesome, you are, working with our planet and we're receiving power sources from you and all this kind of stuff. But they're not anybody that we've ever really met. Like they don't come into the main civilization area of the planet. So they're kind of revered a little bit. Like whoever these company men are that are specialists.
Sure. So this is what I think. I think that I know a little bit behind the scenes here, but I think whether or not I was unclear, your answer is so much more exciting as to whether or not I was or not. So this is what I'm gathering. Your mother's told you that there are specialists of some faction out in the wastes mining. Mm-hmm. Not who they work for or why they are out there, rather than your own people?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, there's a gigantic drill in front of you. It looks huge. We're talking like this thing's moving tons a day. But it has beached itself like a whale and is now laying across several dunes that are in the distance, and it appears to be smoking. It's difficult to tell at first because it is very hot as soon as you step outside. You can feel the heat of the sand through your boots. And so at first you mistake it for maybe mirage, but it is smoking. And it's maybe 200-300 yards dead ahead. Would you like to look into it?
Yes. Yes, guys, these are like really specialist guys that control this equipment. They're like supposed to be top notch. So if anybody can help us get to my home, it would be hopefully one of these guys.
And I grumble a little under my breath, like, okay, sure, let's walk towards the thing in the desert that's on fire.
Okay, that is fair.
What are you talking about? Which other way would we go? What if there's more friends there?
I mean, we don't have a whole lot of options. This place is really desolate, so it's kind of lucky that we ran into anything.
Dude, we're doing it.
Okay. Yeah, as you approach, it really looms ahead. It looms over you like a skyscraper. It's gigantic. It is smoking. The smoke seems to be coming out of slits and vents that are on the sides of it. They do not look like exhaust. They look like maybe doors or windows or access points that have either been pried open or are open. Other than that, there was no damage on the exterior of this mining. There are no signs of life, however. It is just sitting dormant on the side of this like a fallen skyscraper and smoking out of all of these slits that are in the vents along its hull.
I'd like to use the sight, pop into the face state, and see if I can look through the metal and see if there are any, if there's any sentience on board.
Sure. You don't got to roll for that, do you?
No, I don't.
I think it's like you looking through your, for lack of a better illusion, third eye. Okay, yeah, so what you see when you first pop over is you get the presence of the fire planet itself. It is a chaotic roil of energy that is contained within this place, which I don't think comes as much of a surprise. You've heard Bryn talk about this planet. You've seen fire do its thing. This is just a hotspot of it. This is the source of fire. And so that is what is beneath your feet, and you get a very distinct presence of that. But looking at the mining equipment, you can see that that same energy seems to be so brightly contained within the hull of this that you cannot see anything else. It's like an extension of the planet itself filling up this entire mining instrument. You cannot make out any details because there is so much of it inside.
I turn to the group. Guys, I think this is a weird thing that I'm about to say, but I think the planet is driving the drill boat. I know it sounds weird, but when I took a peek inside, it was the energy inside this thing was that of the planet itself.
Can we see, like, with the bloom energy explosion that happened, do we see something similar on the fire planet?
Yes, you passed through what would have been the culmination of it. Those explosions seem to be the source of the barriers that are around the planet. So if you're connecting the dots from the video message that you got from your mother, the explosion happened somewhere near the palace and then expanded until it encapsulated the entire planet and then stopped. And there is just a barrier, a red barrier around your planet. So if you look up, you can see in the high atmosphere, just barely, as though it's hiding behind the sky, this pink tint that is coloring the clouds. It's giving it a perpetual onset of sunset.
Can I get a feeling of the direction of the source of it, where the palace is?
Sure. I think that's going to be a use magic roll.
Okay. 9.
Okay. You are going to... Okay, yeah. So what happens is you clue in to that phenomenon that you experienced in the blue, and I think you reach out and you find that if you are trying to head to the northern hemisphere of this planet, walking this direction to get to the mining equipment is putting you on a track to head north. There seems to be some kind of anchor in that direction that is very, very powerful and seems to be pulling a lot towards it. In fact, when you reach out to find it, you feel the faintest, a sweater being unraveled, one thread being pulled, kind of in the way that you felt your power being drained when you were in the Elder Seed facility, but you appear to be so far away that the presence is very faint.
Oh boy. It's gonna be a long trip.
It doesn't feel like you're in the wrong hemisphere. I'm not gonna try and mess with you guys in that sense. You do seem to be in the middle of the wastes, but you seem to be plopped as close as they could have dropped you. You're not on the wrong continent. If there were bodies of water on this planet, which there are not.
Doors on the smoke stacking machine.
Are there doors?
Yeah.
Yes, there is. There's one right near you. There seem to be a lot of safety signage. One thing that you do notice when you're looking for this door is that this specialist group that Bryn was talking about, her mother telling her about, this machine is very clearly labeled as a company, the company, capital T, capital C, mining vessel. There's no attempt to disguise its markings. It is branded as this drill belongs to the company.
So now it belongs to Rex.
There is a door just a few feet from you.
Great. I'd love to walk up and give it a little rap-a-tap-tap.
Sure. You have a strange sense. Talk to me about your skin, Puck.
So
That's always what you want to hear in a
It
game.
looks very, very clear, very beautiful. I don't know if you have a moisturizing regimen or what's going on, but
Yeah.
I want to-
Seriosh really recommends an aloe mixture. So, we've been trading little botany tips, and I brought some for everybody. Seriosh was like, it's got to be hot down there, so anybody starts to feel burned, I have some in my pack. It's just a little bit of aloe mixed with little extra spices. So if you start to get red, it's too late. So just let me know.
You've got a great team. I really feel like you've worked out a communication strategy that allows everyone's best ideas to be elevated to the top.
Well, you make these connections in space that they just last a lifetime, and it's I think we just really get each other on a like a pizza level. Like until you've had pizza dough that's been pummeled by a giant stone spriggan, you've never really had dough. It just rises differently. Anyway, I digress. So Puck's skin is, partially solid mineral, but there are times where it seems like it's bordering on like turning into like energy fists. So again, he's very much solid, but there are times where it almost seems like he's smoking, or as if there are like shadows like lifting off of him.
I've never really conceptualized this kind of, or living in this kind of body. So when you think of the senses, it's obvious that you can hear, see, if you're talking about pizza and fresh basil, smell and taste. But when it comes to feel, what is it like? What is a tactile experience for Puck when it comes to the way he interacts with his environment?
So it's almost it's difficult to describe. It's sort of like, because his exterior is so resilient, it's sort of like you can think of it like touching a turtle shell. Even though the shell is hard, I can tell that I'm being touched.
Okay.
If to come to say like reading Braille or something like that, Puck would have a difficult time deciding something so sensitive to touch, which is why the overcompensation is with empathy, so that even though he's not always physically able to discern the like a micro touch sensation, he tries to be very aware of the emotional impact of his surroundings. Just it's sort of like the counterbalance to him.
Okay. Then I think walking across the sands for you, you were aware of the heat of the sand, but it was not troubling as it would have been to your friends, who are glad to be in the shade of this rig now. That being said, I think that you were aware of the heat, even if it was subdued. So when you knock on this door, you feel that there is an even more intense heat when you touch the hull of this. Far more intense than it should be, especially on the shade side of this vehicle. Even if it had been in direct sunlight, it feels like a bit more, but nothing else happens. You have a very thick skin.
Hey, friends, and this is sort of just a side note. Actually, I'll let them know. Hey, so I'm pretty sure that there's a fire inside. I'm going to go ahead and open the door. We may want to clear a space because it may erupt out as it gets exposed to oxygen. Also, if you're a little bit, also please do let me know if you need water or anything. I'm not, I don't really need those things like I imagine that you do. Yes. So just, be mindful that if you're in need of assistance, I may not always. Yes.
Oh, thanks, Puck. Really, really great having you on the team. I appreciate that.
Is everybody clear at the door?
Oh yeah, standing back.
Yep.
All right, everybody stands back, and Puck
I'd like
wrenches.
to hide and try to open
Sure.
it.
No problem. There is a bit of a backdraft, and there is a bit of a small explosion, but it is a relatively small door, especially compared to you. And so there is a puff of fire that explodes out, but there's no damage done.
Okay, great. I think we may want to see if there's survivors. If there's, Rex, you work for the company. Is this type of vehicle person? Is it people?
That's an excellent question, and I believe the answer is yes. It's my understanding, as related by Bryn over here, that there's typically crew. A team of specialists works.
It'd be
on these
rather
vehicles.
large, too, for vehicles at this size.
Okay, well, I'm going to go in and see if anybody needs a hand.
I'm going to join the search as well.
Yeah, when you approach the door, intense tag, you feel it far more than Puck does. An intense heat is radiating out of the door. And you can see now why, when you switched into the phase state, you saw what you saw inside this vehicle, where it seemed as though the very fire of the planet had risen into it. All but the metal skeleton has been burned away inside this vehicle.
Shoot.
Every surface is red hot. If you would like to venture inside, you will need to tell me how, because it is a very dangerous environment. I think, Puck, this will be one of many opportunities in which we discover the limits of your powers and abilities, but I think some of that will leave to dice rolls and then just stick with the results. But inside, you don't have a clear view of much. It looks like this thing was just torched, and it's weird because there's still fire inside, and the only thing that could be burning is metal, and it's burning.
All right, it may be too hot for Puck. One sort of game mechanic note: one of his moves is immortality, so he doesn't need to. He doesn't need to.
Yeah, how's that a move?
Well, it's like I can still fly, but he doesn't need to eat, or he can't get sick, and he just always takes one less harm. So if I was able to go in there, and it would be just by proximity, I'd be taking damage. If it's only in that range of harm, I think he would go ahead and venture in if it didn't seem like he would instantly be
incinerated. Sure, you have a gauge for this. You've been alive a long time. The first thing I'll say is that while something like immortality sounds game-breakingly difficult, I was thinking about Puck and his counterpart Sam when designing this particular mission, and what I've decided, and feel free to jump in here, is that your harm is shared. Because you are occupying the same space, you do not have two different health gauges. You have one.
Yes. Yep.
And even though Puck is very sturdy and very tough, because of what has happened to put him in this position, he is now tied to Sam. So while Puck could stay in the desert for eons and not need to do anything to survive, if he were to accidentally change into Sam and Sam were to die, I imagine that there would be consequences. So his fate is not entirely in his control. There are boons, but I think that there is some danger that could happen.
Yeah, I agree. I like that. And I think it plays into Puck's fascination with eating, just knowing that it's one of those things that he should be doing so that Sam at any point, that Sam isn't emaciated or tired or just unable to function. So he's, trying out some of these new ideas. He's so fascinated with the olfactory experience of, that he kind of has a little of the backseat driving when Sam's around, and Sam doesn't really appreciate Sam's palate choices. It's a lot of brown liquids that, but yeah. All right. Yes.
I appreciate the idea that, as Puck is wandering out day to day, he's really, really trying to be very sweet and is earnestly oh, right. I totally forgot to eat. Sam needs to eat, and just takes a Costco size of relish and is just spooning it into his mouth. I got you covered, Sam. And Sam's soul is somewhere in there, just being
Yeah. So you look in this door and you think I could probably poke around in there for a little bit.
Yep.
You will take damage, but you will have an opportunity to go in there and roll investigate a mystery. Unless you roll a fail, you can get in there and ask your questions and get out before you take damage. If you take damage, I'm going to let you ask a little bit. Or, I'm sorry, if you fail, you will take some damage, but you'll still be able to see some stuff.
Oh, boy, I sure wish Sam was around. He's much better at the investigating than I am.
Do you want to, Casey, split up when we get in there? Why am I asking Casey?
Are you still trying to go in?
You're going in?
Tag, I don't think...
Are you crazy?
I think it's going to be too hot for you.
It's not impossible, I should say, but it will be a bit more complicated than just walking through the door. You'll have to make some kind of precaution, or you'd have to use some kind of magic or do something to...
None of you... Clearly there was an outpouring of surprise that I was thinking about going in. Yeah, of course I was thinking about going in.
Okay.
I don't...
What? How about... I have
Disappointing everyone. I don't have to go. You
Tine,
go. You go, Puck.
No, Tine, what about this? When I go in, I'll take an article of clothing and we can see how the clothing responds to the heat. That way we can have some idea of how hot it might be.
Puck,
Give up your pants again.
Okay.
I don't stop.
Okay. So I just take off
If
the...
the pants don't come back, you'll be walking around in your skivvies all through the desert.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, here.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And I'm
Puck,
only doing the pants not because I want to make a habit out of it, but because, as you all know, there's a lot of complicated straps here with the top part of the tunic.
sure.
Pants are just elastic.
The way that I see it,
That too, because you took them off before, really.
Oh man.
I see Puck take the pants, give a thumbs up, and step across the threshold and go a few steps in, and then realizes it's not that hot to him. So he turns around to let you know, and you see the pants starting at the ankles catch on fire and turn into ash right up into his fingers. And they are incinerated immediately.
Hey, how we doing in there, Puck? What's the word? Should I come in?
I think maybe you stay there. I don't know what happened, but your pants are now ash colored.
Okay, you're breaking up a little at the end there. You keep investigating. It's fine. I'll wait out here.
All right.
I'm a little uncomfortable, obviously, without pants from a social standpoint, not a temperature standpoint. So let's investigate this mystery so I can get my clothes back on.
I'll see if I can find you some more pants while I'm in here.
As you walk through, you are moving just a small way into this mining thing. It seems to be a pretty utilitarian space. Metal, it would be just regular metal hallways and floors. All of the light fixtures have been melted through. The floor is actually so hot that your weight is causing your footprints to depress the metal.
Oh.
And all of the walls are starting to sag under their own weight. Roll investigate a mystery.
Okay.
That doesn't feel like anything I couldn't have handled.
What do I add to investigate?
Sharp.
Sure. That's an 8.
Sweet. You get to ask me, I believe, one question.
Was this a
None of them are perfect, so phrase
Yeah.
them how you think it would apply to the situation.
was this an accident or a deliberate problem that was caused here? Was there
Like arson.
Sure,
Yeah.
like kind of just like what happened.
was there a what happened?
Sure. As you're going through, you're not able to get very deep in without starting to feel as though you're going to start taking damage, but it's enough to see that there did not seem to be an explosion of any kind. All of the metal, besides starting to deteriorate from the intense heat, seems to be intact. And you get this very strange feeling. And you get to a place where you realize whatever the trouble must have been, it must have come from below. Because you come upon a hole, almost a perfect circle in the floor, and above you there is another one, and you can see they're about 10 feet across, that they travel up several floors of this mining thing, and you can actually see down to where there would be ground, and there just seems to be a tunnel beneath.
Okay.
And it's yeah.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and go out of here and let them know they might be in danger now. So
Okay.
I should go let them know what's going on.
When Puck steps outside, he's no longer the black and purple crystals that you've seen in the past. He is white hot, and the smoke that has been rolling off of him is just this steam. And it looks like one of those color-changing cups, because the longer he stays outside, his natural color starts to slowly bleed back. But the crystals that he is comprised of had been absorbing that heat and filtering it. And he just slowly
Cool.
bleeds back to his normal color.
I turn my back so that Puck can't see my face, but the rest of the group can. And I just don't say anything. Let's not say
Like
anything.
hypercolor.
Okay. Well, all right.
I walk a few feet away just so I don't burn anybody. So it's really hot in there. I don't recommend anyone else go in there. Oh, also,
I'm making it pretty hot out here, not wearing pants. So let's put those right back on. What do you say?
oh, hey, by the way, Tag, about those pants. They sort of got incinerated.
Is this a joke?
No, but it's better than you being incinerated. Bright side.
So I
I
take
think I've got like a towel or something that you can
no.
wrap around you.
I have some like leggings that are white.
I'm not gonna put. It's fine. Okay, it's fine. And what he's
Men
wearing
can wear
is
leggings.
somewhere
You guys
between
can wear leggings.
like
Well-
little boy shorts and a loincloth.
Well, no,
It's fully
hey.
covering him, but it's like very, just sort of makeshift wrap around. So
If
I
you
think he hikes his thing down a little bit, so it takes his arms out of the sleeves. It becomes more tube toppy, so that it gets a little more length on the bottom to cover him.
Tag, if you need some something else to wear, Zip actually gave me a pair of jogging shorts. Said it was going to be real hot down here, so if they fit you, you're welcome to wear them. They're in my bag.
Have they got pockets, or they're just like mesh jogging shorts?
They look real small.
I put them on. They are tiny.
You got
It
butt
looks
cheeks
like
hanging
I am
at the
just
bottom of
wearing
the.
underwear on top of my underwear.
Yeah, I just really like the color, so Fran said I could have them.
Can we get a move on, please?
All right. So, is there any information you want to relay, Puck, or anything else you'd like to do with this machine?
So it looks like it was a natural encounter with subterranean creatures that had resulted in the destruction of this mining machine. My guess is they were doing their business, and then these creatures came up from the ground into the vehicle, and then the vehicle exploded. And there doesn't appear to be anybody left inside alive.
Great.
But they weren't that big. They were only about maybe holes like this big. And
He's trying to with his wingspan. You're getting about 10 feet across.
and they went all the way up through the layers. So maybe they were like really mean French fries, huge ones, and they accidentally thought the machine was a dipping sauce. And
I'm gonna make a mental note to ask Puck about his French fry experiences later. So that sounds really. What he's
Bad.
describing is immediately flashing me back to the nightmare bugs of the last planet. I'd like to read a bad situation, please.
Please do. Please do.
Right. I'm so sorry. What am I adding to this?
Sharp. I got them all here.
In this case, what am I subtracting from this? Okay, so that is an 8.
Sure. You get to ask me one question from the list. And again, they don't always apply, so just the gist phrased however you'd like works for me.
Okay. I'd like to ask. I'd like to ask the question, "What is my best way in/out?" But I like to ask it in terms of the palace. If this hole is giving me any indication, is the drill usable as a transportation vessel? Is this tunnel maybe gonna shortcut us to the palace?
From what Puck relays to you, which will just be exactly what he saw, probably not. What you're looking at here, as you circle this and you're trying to get your bearings and figure out, like if Bryn has a kind of an anchor point that's pulling you north and you're circling this thing, like, is this thing usable? The way that he described the inside is absolutely not. Pretty soon, if the heat doesn't stop, this thing's going to crumble inward. It's surprising to say that because it is so large. The tunnel would be unreliable because what you realize is, as you're circling it, this drill had not come up from the ground and fallen onto the dune. You could see that the treads had actually been carrying it, and for as far as you can see, it looked to have just been in transit. Perhaps it was going to its next mining site, and something, while it was just driving along, took it out. So you get the impression of, like, what's my best way out? You're looking at a lot of open ground between you and where you need to be. Which leads me to our next favorite segment. I have notes here. It's called Survival Journey. Give me 2 seconds because I forgot to plug my computer in. Tag, say something funny.
All right, real quick. Who here has seen the movie Tremors? Because I think it's about to get pretty relevant.
I have not, actually.
I failed you. It's a treat. And Tremors 2 really elevates the series. 3 through whatever the rest of them. You don't think so?
No, I've never seen 2. I just really enjoyed 1, so if 2 is better than 1.
2's a treat, yeah. I have not seen 3 through, I think, like 19 or whatever they're up to now. But
What? There's more?
Is the Terminator 2 of the series, of the franchise.
am I saying that? I'm not necessarily saying that.
Oh, okay. But you enjoyed 2.
I mean, T2, that's a real step up, for me at least.
Whoa. Real stuff. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, it's one of the greatest action movies of all time. Sci-fi 2. Terminator 1's really good.
Terminator 1's really good. I would say, for me, the gap between T2 and T1 is much larger than the gap between, for example, Alien and Aliens. In which case, I personally prefer Aliens, though
I also...
movies.
So they're talking, and I'm just, like, polishing Graflex.
Okay. Sorry for the pause. We're going to start what I'm going to call Survival Journey. And it's
Let's
a rule
all
set.
sing the song that we've been rehearsing meticulously for 4 hours a night, every night since we started doing Void Jumpers. Ready?
A 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3.
Survival journey!
Survive.
Survival!
We're trying to survive.
We're trying to survive this journey.
Trying to survive.
Trying to survive this journey.
I'll choose to stop just out of pity for Lisa's disdain for us.
I was drumming. You couldn't hear it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I could only see your face, and it just looked like
It looked
fuck
like you were
these
disgusted with it.
assholes.
I was drumming.
I'm sorry.
So this is something that I'm thinking of, and we're going to try. We're going to do a couple trial runs with this little mission arc. It's going to be how you get through places that are dangerous. These are what my notes read. You're all going to die. The only way to prevent this from happening is to work together. This journey is going to deal you 7 harm. That is enough to kill you. Why? Because, as Bryn can well tell you, the Fire Planet is a brutal and unforgiving place. Each of you must choose one of these obstacles, which I'm going to let you know about, and do your best to protect the group from its worst dangers. Your decision will inform your role, and you will be given a chance to describe your successes while I will fill in your failures. Successful handling of these obstacles will negate some of the damage you take. So we're starting at 7 harm. It's a death blow to the entire party. What you do will bring that number down. Tag's already taken 1 harm from kicking the Void Jumper, so he's at 6. So you actually have to crank it back 8. Okay, what you're going to need to do is, I imagine you're going to be heading in the direction of what Bryn believes to be the palace, correct? I'm going to let you narrate your journey, but you're going to take turns. The things you're going to need to address are thirst, hunger, navigation, and heat. Then you will all have a chance to work together to create a camp if you're still alive.
Can I pillage the drop ship to see if there's anything, like, 2 things. 1, parachutes that we can use as sort of a shade over us as we're walking, and 2, something to put on the bottom of our feet as we're walking so it creates a better barrier.
Yeah, sure. You're going to get a parachute out of an emergency panel on the outside of the Void Jumper that you feel would have been triggered if something had malfunctioned in the wards and the strange technology they used to just crash land into a planet. This would be like the backup plan. You have a parachute that would be large enough to softly, kind of like the one that enveloped yours and then caught on fire a couple things back.
Yeah.
So you have a large parachute, and you could fashion the seats into, it's like getting a brand new car and you drive it off the lot for the first time, then you pull over and get a pocket knife out and just cut the seats into pieces.
What else are we gonna do with this thing?
I think you use it to access all planets for the rest of this role-playing game.
Yes, it is a one-of-a-kind spacecraft that has been meticulously and very painstakingly designed and created. But you are going to roll Act Under Pressure to see how many of these featsies you get. You need 3. Think of it this way: success 3, partial success 2, failure 1.
All right. Let's add tough. Is it add tough?
No, cool.
Oh, okay. 9.
Okay, you have 2 booties. 2 pairs of booties made out of Void Jumper seats.
Well,
So just put that in your back pocket for a second. The way that I want to go about this is we're just going to structure it, and it's going to really set up each person to have a moment to make some big choices that are then going to roll forward as each person addresses things. You won't necessarily have a chance to do these by committee. It'll be based on the ideas and the specialties of each person. So I'm just going to list these again. I'm going to list them one at a time. Somebody just needs to volunteer for each. Go with your gut. Thirst.
I can help.
Puck. Hunger.
I
On
can
it.
help.
Tag.
You're on it.
Navigation.
I'll take it.
You're
I
already.
could have helped with that.
I could have too.
Let's swap.
What am I doing?
You
I
got
thought-
hunger.
I was deferring to Trin's hand for hunger. I'll
Okay, got
take
it.
hunger.
Okay, yeah. So we got Puck, thirst, Rex, hunger, Tag, navigation, Bryn. You're ending up with heat. You're gonna have a +1 to your roll because of your booties. Yes, Puck.
Maybe I can help with the heat. If she gets if Bryn gets a +1 and it's her planet, she might have the best. I have an idea for the thirst, but I just want to put out there that I could also do heat, if that's.
Once we roll into this, you won't be able to change roles. So if anybody wants to change roles, now's the time.
That's up to you, Puck. I mean, yeah, I can definitely work with water within the very small amount that's in the planet, but I can
Okay.
also work with heat. So, what would you like to do?
Well, I'm having a good time either way.
We're gonna make Puck heat and Bryn thirst.
Okay,
All right.
Jesse. He was like, and we got it.
I'm just making a note for myself so I can get y'all through this. Tag's doing navigation, and Puck is doing heat. Okay, so we're actually going to do these in order, which I will decide. I'm going to present the obstacle. You're going to tell me what you want to do. You'll roll. You'll have a chance to tell me what happens, and then we're going to move on to the next person. Anything that happens during your fellows' improvisation is fair game to use. And there's nothing wrong that you could do. You're just going to be presenting some options. I don't know how you're going to solve these. I didn't come up with shit, so I hope that you guys live, but I don't have any ideas. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to deal with is the most immediately pressing. It is heat. Puck.
All
take
right.
the lead.
So, well, you guys, even though I'm going to be able to help with this, you guys are the ones who already solved it. So, with Tag kicking the ship, I realized, oh, that's a resource right there. And then Bryn went back and found this parachute. So here's what I think we should do. I will tie one end of the parachute around my neck like a big cape, and then we'll tie something heavy at the other end, and then I will walk forward and you walk behind me, and that way there will be a permanent canopy for everybody to walk under.
Cool. You're going to roll straight. You want to do this with your wits or with your strength?
Oh, well, I should probably use my strength.
Okay. It's going to take a lot of endurance to be able to carry the canopy, primarily you. So roll it, plus tough.
That's a 10.
That is a full success.
And just a flavor note, because of Puck's Spriggan status, he uses plus weird for his strength rolls.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us what your caravan looks like underneath this canopy.
So because Puck is a bit taller, you've got sort of a this this stone cloaked, caped creature walking through the desert, and then sort of an angled, sheer parachute hanging down below, and then us all walking in single file, so nobody is exposed except for Puck to direct sunlight, and it should and there will be times where, based off where the sun is, Puck might walk at an angle to make sure that the people are always getting shade, and trying to be mindful that because he's taller, he has to walk a bit slower because it's a bit bigger of a stride, and making sure that everybody gets a chance to walk where they want in order, because he's
just taking these teeny little steps.
he almost crushed Bryn with his bum, so he doesn't insist that she walk right behind him, just in case that's triggering for her at this point.
He is so conscientious, it just melts my heart every time. It's just this big, giant, crystal golem creature just being like, careful as he can. Thinking about other people, not sure how people work, but he's going to do his best.
Okay, so with this wonderful idea and how well it is executed, the shade keeps the sun off you for the most part. You all, except for Puck, get lightly sunburned, but it's just a pink. Your positive will turn into a righteous tan.
Aloe.
Plus, we have that sweet aloe.
You got that sweet aloe. You have 2 pairs of booties. Who's wearing the booties?
I think I gave them to Rex and Tag. I'm
And
used
I
to
think
this
I
planet.
probably handed them back and said, absolutely not, Summoner. I have very strong feet from walking many miles in tough terrain, and these boots are pretty solid.
Okay.
Also, my pride, I'll wear some booties that are made out of seats, since I don't have pants. It was only fair that I would accumulate a piece of wardrobe.
Mark, if you want to pop us out to full screen mode, I imagine we're going to have a lot of dot connecting with these consequences. That being, Rex takes 1 harm through the sand for being the only one not wearing booties.
My thick calluses.
They do well, and you only take 1 harm. It's the first time we're doing this, so that is going to be an immediate consequence. The numbers that have been subtracted have already been subtracted from the total. But now what's happening is you've got 2 things that you're juggling. You've got current harm and incoming damage. So you want to keep as much health as you can, knowing that you're going to be taking a hit. So Rex is now dropped down 1.
How many do I have to start with?
7.
I've forgotten.
Do we all have 7?
You all have 7 except for Tag, who has 6.
There's 8. What's the name of this? Survival Gauntlet? Survival
Journey.
Survival Journey, the journey of survival. Yeah, we're gonna punch our way to good health.
You all appreciate the shade on the walk. The dunes continue. There is nothing in the distance except more of them. Soon, though it takes a very long time, the gargantuan mining machine fades behind you and gets smaller and smaller and smaller. At one point, you do feel a small disturbance and turn in time to see it crumble in on itself. The shade is very appreciated in this, and even through your booties, you feel the heat, though Rex is the only one who takes any kind of significant damage. It would just be like you're cooking them, and you're just getting these like heat blisters, like they're just getting irritated. But despite the shade you are afforded by this flowing sheer canopy, you do start to get very, thirsty. And the next immediate danger of this desert presents itself, which is dehydration.
Well, I think if everyone's getting really thirsty, presumably it's because Tag's not wearing pants. So
And they're slobbering all over
deal
themselves.
with that, yeah, first.
Oh, you thirst trapping yourself right there a little bit.
A little bit.
So, Bryn, how would you like to handle thirst?
I would like to use my lightning Erics to conjure rain clouds and lightning.
Okay. We're going to go...
Didn't expect that, did ya?
I did not, actually. We're just going to go with... I think it's just going to be use magic. What's your weird?
+2.
Okay, I'm going to give you +1 for using the amulet.
Okay.
I just want to say, this is coming to me now, because I think that these magic items are cool. I want them to have consequence, and so they will give you +1s for as long as you have them. If you roll a fail when using a relic of any kind, there is a chance that it will be damaged or destroyed. That's going to be my balance. So if you never roll a fail, you just get a +1 every time you use this amulet. But if you roll a fail, you don't know what's going to happen.
Wait, an original fail? Like my dice are a 6 or lower? Or...
Yes, but only on the roll in which you are using the amulet. So it will be contained. So even if you're just blasting off magic from your
I
staff...
think you said yes, Jesse, to a different question that Lisa was asking. I think
I mean,
Lisa
like,
said the failure is
without-
considered after your modifier.
Like no modifiers. If I fail it before modifiers,
We're always only going with total.
so I get a +2 for weird and a +1 for the amulet. So I'd have to really fuck up.
It can happen.
I
It can
know.
happen.
Don't say that.
It has.
Because I think that the relics are cool, and I want you guys to use them. So I don't want it to be like you're walking on a tightrope every time you do. But because they are so powerful, they are drawing on a volatile source of energy.
Right.
And so there is a chance that they will rupture, you know?
All
I
right,
dig it. No.
No. That's a 7. Thank God. Thank God.
Okay. I'm going to choose your glitch. It is going to be that the effect is of short duration. Just tell me how you cast the spell, and I'll tell you what happens.
I'm gonna cast it. I'm not gonna use my staff for this. 'Cause I'm a little nervous about touching my staff to the Erics that just. I
Tread!
from going through my mind wanted to go with that. Anyway, so I'm just going to grab the Erics in my hand, and I'm gonna take and feel the energy that's within it and the lightning, and just sort of direct it upwards and almost call the clouds to me because they want to meet the lightning.
Sure. I think what happens is you are surprised to have a very powerful bolt of electrical magic erupt out of this amulet, which is on your chest. There's a bit of a shockwave which pops around all of you, and it shoots into the sky. You can see where it comes into contact with that red tint that seems to be hiding just above the ceiling of this planet's atmosphere, and it just curls in on itself, and from that explosion and this discharge, clouds begin to accumulate, and you see rather quickly a storm system roll out of where it comes into contact and downpour almost immediately.
Yes.
You guys are now in the middle of a very, very heavy rain, which is very rare for this planet, if not unheard of, and you are on the top of a dune. So, here's the thing. Bryn has masterfully conjured water. She's not gone to the extent of deciding what you guys are going to use to catch it. So everybody... Boots?
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody takes off their boots. Everyone roll.
Well, I have a Tupperware of almonds that I've just dumped out, so I
You
have
have
my.
established that you are carrying snacks constantly, so I'm going to allow that. So Bryn's taken off her boots. Rex has a Tupperware. Others?
Yeah, I have bag lunches that were sent by Big Mike and and Zaza. If I'll just quickly eat one of the sandwiches and then get some water.
Okay. Puck again demonstrating that he's not really sure how much water humans need, so he's just gonna get a Ziploc bag full. And Tag, what are you catching water in? Mouth open. Got it. Okay, so you're just gonna have a straight roll, Puck, for act under pressure. Bryn and Rex, you're gonna get a +1. Tag, you're gonna get a -1 to whatever your plus cool is.
God damn it, Jesse!
What?
I just think that I should be rewarded for being me.
Look, I think it's a wonderful image. You just opening your mouth to the heavens as they open up, and I think that as a reflex, that is exactly what you would do. The problem is you've seen no end in sight of this desert, and you've done nothing to make sure that you can take water forward. And so while I love it, you're gonna be punished because it is a tough planet to live on.
I can give him one of my boots.
Exactly. What did everybody roll?
Boot water. Sorry.
I rolled.
Wait, we're all rolling right now?
Yeah, roll plus cool. You get a +1.
I rolled an 8.
I rolled
Okay.
12, so 13.
And Puck?
Whoa.
13.
Okay.
Wow.
With their 2 successes, we are going to eliminate Tag's irresponsibility because the canvas tarp that is billowing behind you begins to collect water. And while Tag is looking straight into the air to start getting rain to fall into his mouth, he realizes what's going on and goes to hold the other end up and create a bathtub-like shape.
Hey, was I trying to catch the rain from underneath the tarp to begin with?
That's your fault. I didn't think so, but if that's what you think you're doing, that's why you keep getting punished.
Like, the heat is really, sometimes you get embarrassed about something, like, for example, not wearing pants in a group setting where it is not appropriate to not be wearing pants, and then you just, like, snowball from that. I think that's what's happening.
Sure. It was 2 full successes, 1 partial, and a failure. Okay. Okay, so you guys are able to use your boots and your Tupperwares and this big canvas thing to collect enough water that by the time the storm passes, you have time to distribute it into actual containers that you think will be able to carry them forward. And you do have water, which you think will last you for a while. However, you get the most crushing blow when you realize you cannot take all of the water that you've collected with you because it simply cannot be transported, and you have to just pour so much into the sand.
I'll drink it. So I feel bad.
Yeah, go for it. It takes a while. And it's doing it.
It's okay, Puck. You don't have to do. Thank you.
Okay. Maybe.
And the creases in the crystals on his exoskeleton start to just dribble. You haven't seen this happen before, but he's drinking so much water. You feel that it's just like it cannot be contained in this body of his.
All right.
Hey, man, really, I really think you should. It's cool,
Okay. Well,
It doesn't seem like it's going to any more productive use than it would be to just pour it out on the ground. So,
would you guys like to have an extra splash before it goes away?
Yeah, I'd like to wash my face.
Yeah, if you could just flick a little on my face so it just feels like I'm being gently misted.
I take a handful and just big just whoosh.
Okay, not wait a minute, but it's very refreshing. Thank you.
Right. Sorry,
Yeah.
sometimes I forget our hands are different sizes.
It was very refreshing. I do appreciate it.
Here. Now
Although
we can.
now it feels like sweat. Ugh.
How flexible are your hands? Are your fingers flexible? Can you touch your thumb to your wrist?
Puck or us in real life?
Wait,
What?
what?
But everybody can do it.
Wait, show me
No.
again.
I can't really do it.
So neither Puck.
Howard, what?
I used to. I can't anymore, but yeah.
All right, so you guys head down off of the. As we do this as a team, we're so cool, guys.
I really just meant Puck, but I love that everybody did it.
You guys start to slip and slide down this dune because it is flooded after this very intense rain shower. The clouds just disappear. Not like they wink out of existence, but it seems like the spell went off without a hitch, but the heat is just so oppressive that they could not keep the moisture in the air for long. Whatever you had done to electrify the thing and charge it and change it into a different thing, it just like the planet itself just kind of swallowed it with the heat.
Now, Jesse, you are the GM, but this might be a good opportunity to deal with hunger.
I think you are hungry by the time you get to the bottom of this mud pile that was a dune behind you. And as you continue on your journey and trudge through the sand underneath this canopy, you do start to get hungry. What's up?
What's up? Well, the thought I had was that the sudden influx and presence of water in a very, very dry and arid environment would draw anything near to it that needs water to sustain it. So I think I should hunt those things, and hopefully they're not big and will kill me. I'm thinking like, we're in a desert. We've got to have some lizards, maybe some non-poisonous snakes. Any kind of creatures that we could sustain ourselves with.
I
guess I'm just surprised to hear you advocate for hunting them when the option of befriending them and then training them to scavenge for us seems just dangling.
Do you guys have snacks with you? The dinosaur? The plant dinosaur?
Oh yeah, we could just eat snacks.
We did not establish. In my head, we had left him, her, they behind.
Okay.
But we don't have to. We don't have to make that decision. But that
I
is
think
what
that's
I
fine.
thought.
It just you guys are so good about tracking NPCs during travel that I just wanted to make sure. Okay, so the plant dinosaur's back at home. Yeah. So here's what's up.
Yeah.
Roll luck. What's your luck? Have you used any luck?
No.
Then there's no. Yeah, okay. So yeah, here's what you see. By the time you get to the bottom and all the water has cascaded down this dune, you do see that these creatures which burrow under the sand to stay cool during the day are now fleeing because all of their dwellings are being flooded by the water. There are no large creatures, so you realize it's not going to be as simple as hunting one thing and create.
Well, I got these cool knives I can throw.
Right. You do see a lot of snakes. They have flat diamond-shaped heads. They do not look non-poisonous, unfortunately. You just specified that so hard that I wanted to make sure.
I know.
But they do, when they come up out of the ground, they actually spiral up and out until they're in a standing position, and you can see them arc back, and on their way to flopping down into a regular snake-like movement, you can see them twist and scan. So it's almost like they're shooting up out of the ground and looking around. And as they come out of the ground and see you, they start to head in the opposite direction. They're very long, but only a couple inches wide, and they are jet black. That is there seems to be like half a dozen of them, and that's going to be your dinner. And how are you hunting them? You're throwing knives at them?
I think so, because I've got those two, smallish knives that I got from Tara that I think can be used effectively as throwing knives.
Okay.
Because I don't want to be in striking distance of these snakes.
Sure. So I'm going to give you you're just going to do kick some ass. You're very tough. I feel like giving you a plus right now would be giving you like a +9. I don't even know what plus you're getting on kick some ass, but it's a lot. So you're throwing knives at snakes.
I'm throwing knives at snakes. Probably two-handed, because that's just how I wield all of my weapons, apparently. Oh, drop that one. Okay, I think that's not terrible. I forgot what my plus is for kick some ass. That's a 10.
Cool. All right. With that full success, you're going to receive a little bit of information. So you head out and expertly just knock these things down. You've had to survive in the wilds before, and while you haven't had to survive in this extreme of this kind of environment, you have had to be in the bush and hunt and live. And so you start to just knock out these snakes. You do notice that when you miss one, it flips up like it was when they were coming up out of the ground, and it spits a glowing orange liquid at the knife when the knife hits the sand. And before you can get to the knife, the blade has actually melted through and the handle has fallen off into the sand.
Hey, that was a gift!
When you look at it, you expect to find venom of some kind. It seems to actually be... It isn't lava, but it's closer to the lava family than it would be the venom family. And as you're stripping, like field stripping and cleaning these snakes, you can almost just lay their meat out on the sand to cook it because it is so hot. You do see that the holes in the ground where they're coming up are still there, and they are perfect circles that are just kind of pockmarked like they've been aerated into the sand around this place.
I used to play with those all the time as a kid.
What are they named?
Huh?
What are they
What
called?
are they called?
We just used to call them Sammy Serpents, but I don't know. We used to try to
Sandstormers.
step on them. You used to run and chase them and try to step on them, and you couldn't.
You know
100%
these are poisonous,
Sammy
right?
serpents, right?
Extraordinarily dangerous and such a sweet name in direct opposition to how lethal they seem to be.
Also, it would seem that maybe some really, 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 really humongous Sammy serpents are responsible for the destruction of the machine.
Oh,
That would be my observation.
well, at least we've given him such a cute name, and it won't be that terrifying when the mother giant one appears.
It's interesting that Puck would say this, Bryn, because now that you're thinking about it, the way in which that the interior of that place was described to you makes sense. You've lived on this planet your entire life.
Mhm.
You have never seen a Sammy serpent bigger than these ones. These are full grown. They're fucking scary too. They're like
Yeah.
8-9 feet long.
Whoa!
But they're not. They're like snake. They're just long snakes, you know.
Right.
But you've never seen one that could have done that. You've never even heard of tales of one that could do that.
Yeah, no, that's super shocking.
Can I try to fashion tag some shorts or board shorts out of the Sammy serpent skin?
Snake skin? Yeah, snake skin.
Capris
shorts.
would be great if you're taking requests.
I'm gonna
Serpent
offer
pants.
a kilt, like whatever I think I can fashion out of the amount of skin there is.
You're gonna roll plus charm.
I
Darn that thing.
apologize in advance for this.
I'll just say before we see the roll, I'm gonna wear it whatever they are. So whatever
Thank
the
you.
roll.
I was hoping you would, yeah.
Yeah.
That is a 4.
Okay. They are capri length, the equivalent of assless chaps.
They only have a front side and then just sort of a waistband.
Yes.
My
So-
heart's poking through.
The front
It's
of your leg.
it's like sort of what a catcher in baseball wears, but attaching up at the top instead of down at ankles.
Yeah.
The design, I figured it's so hot that you wouldn't want all of the pieces of the pants. So this way it covers the front and then the heat can come out of the back.
Genuinely, I cannot tell if Puck is fucking with me right now, so I'm just gonna take whatever he offers me and I'll put it on.
As the snakes were retreating, and as Tag is wearing these assless chaps,
Can we call them front capris?
yeah, as Tag is wearing these front capris,
You know, I don't know if that's any better. We call it whatever you want.
you see that the front capris are actually starting to change color. It's not as fluid as when Puck kind of seeped back to being his normal color, but you saw it when the Sammy serpents were retreating from Rex as she was hunting them. It seemed like they were popping out of a place that was jet black, and therefore they were jet black, being underground. But as they were starting to slither away on the sand, they began to change colors to more earth tones. And as they moved from the sun side of dunes into the shadows of others, that earth tone darkened to compensate.
Oh, good. Invisible serpents, guys.
And Tag's front capris are doing the same thing.
Maybe they'll
as
think
he
I'm
walks
one of them.
into shadow, they darken, and as he goes into the light, they brighten, and they are matching the color of the sand.
Yeah, I
Or
don't
they'll
say
think
anything.
you killed their friends and are therefore their enemy.
They'll know me as their leader.
I am so impressed that Rex was able to kill one. Like, I'm just blown away.
Oh, I killed more than one.
That's amazing.
I think.
Sure. Yeah. What did you roll? You rolled like a 10 plus? Yeah, you
No,
killed
half
that's
of
ten.
He's worth of them.
Yeah.
yeah, you got a good haul of those snakes. And you actually, by drying them in the sand, you're able to get them to a point where you feel like you guys can have a meal, but you can also bring some with you.
Snake
using-
jerky.
Snake jerky, exactly.
And
Uh,
almonds. I had put all the almonds from my Tupperware in my pockets. So I gave everyone some pocket almonds.
Pocket almond, the best kind of almond, in my opinion.
So, the journey has been long, and the sun is beginning to set. There are several moons in the sky that have been there all day. They don't seem to be moving very much. You are now getting used to how hot and uncomfortable you are, but you've found a way to get into the shade. You've found some water, and you found some food. You do not have the feeling that you could last very long out here, but you can last a while. Now, the immediate threats of survival are gone, and you are going to be required to find your way. The closer you get, the anchor starts to play tricks with Bryn's mind. It's not moving in that sense. What it's doing is it's starting to pull her focus, and so while she can reset and figure out which direction you need to head, there's long lapses of time in which she appears to be zoning out. And because you guys are a bit miserable, nobody's keeping watch, because you're all zoning out. But in these times, Bryn is then forced to come back and realize that she's taken you around several dunes that you guys should have just crossed, and you're starting to lose time. And you don't have any great sense of the distance you've crossed, but you know that it's going to take you a while, and any time you're losing is going to necessitate more and more of this improvisation in the wild. And what you're really relying on today has been luck and magic. And so if that is your only resources, luck isn't very reliable. Skill. And the knives.
Knives.
You were down to knife, by the way. Sorry for punishing you on a full success, but you're down to knife.
It's all right.
You were rewarded with information about seemingly unrelated meals. Okay, so Tag,
Yes, sir.
you are the one who is closest to Bryn. Not just, geographically, but you do have a very connection that is budding and getting stronger by the day. I think that whether she could put it into words or not, you pick up on it before she does, that she's starting to get you guys lost. And so it's going to be up to you now to get this caravan on track to get to where you need to go.
All right. Well, here's a little flavor about the world that I thought of before, and I actually think might end up being relevant. So, when Tag went into the phase state earlier on the planet, his whole focus was on the vessel that he had seen, so he wasn't really noticing what's going on around him. But and there's no reason for him to be looking into the phase state, so he hasn't been. He's just been walking. But as they've gotten more tired and more sloppy and just more drained, you ever you ever just walking around and maybe you trip on a step or something and it jolts you and you toot a little bit? You're just like, ah! I think that that's kind of what's happening. He just slips a little bit on the sand and goes into the sort of into the phase real quick, and that happens and maybe happens again. And he's kind of as he's losing the energy to maintain that solid phasial boundary between himself in this world and that one, he notices something, and then he chooses to, and he just kind of clicks into the phase state, and he sees that whereas in the world that we are walking through, these sand dunes are fixed, and sure, there's a breeze every so often that blows a couple grains from the top of the crest, but they are these firm mountains of sand that we're walking over. In the phase state, it looks like a waterbed. These dunes are just roiling, just moving, undulating up and down. I think it's if we were to, I don't know that Tag knows this, but if we were to put a reason behind it, I think it's just the like pure bubbling energy of this planet that is just creating a sort of a storm, a thrashing world of these dunes. And what I'm hoping to do is use that maybe as he's doing this, he sees on the horizon, now that they are undulating and moving, a bit of light, a bit of reflection, a sparkle that might physically indicate a city that would have otherwise been hidden behind the dunes.
Sure. I think what helps is that comparing it to when you flipped over into the phase state on the Bloom world, when you would look into that place, you saw elements of every kind. It was predominantly Bloom, but they were covered in water. You could see fire below the crust of the earth. You could see lightning gathering in the sky to preempt some storm that might be days away. You could see these things existing in that place. On this planet, in the desert, there is nothing but fire. Nothing. And so it's a very blank canvas that you're looking at. And so when you do pick up the outline of it, kind of rippling towards a focal point, I think that it is once you realize what you're looking for, it's easy to see because there's nothing in the way. It's just emptiness and fire, and it is chaotic because the edge of this planet, what you're clinging to by gravity without even really thinking about it, there is just this constant eruption underneath the surface. Do you have a move in particular that you would like to use in place of use magic, or would you like to just use magic?
No, whatever you want to call it. I think that's my reasoning behind how I'm doing this. If you want to put it to a mechanic, I'm game.
Sure. Are you doing this privately, or are you in any way tapping into your connection with Bryn?
No, I think that my goal wasn't to navigate us. My goal was to just learn more about this crazy thing that the world is doing, the topography of this land is doing in phase state, and in doing so, stumble upon that site of the city.
Sure. Yeah. You're just gonna roll plus weird.
14.
Wow.
Cool.
Whoa.
I think that you have a much harder time. Yes.
Oh, sorry. I'm just remembering that I failed a roll, and that's going to be an experience point, which will take me 5, and I will level up later.
All right. I think we've got some stuff in the queue for you. So you've got some weird shit that you're going to be able to throw into the salad that is Tag.
She is a salad.
I think that finding what you're looking for, as we described, is not the difficult part of this. With a 14 on use magic, you're able to clue into it very easily. What's difficult, I think, is navigating the way in which you would communicate to Bryn why you feel you should help her in directing your party when it's very clear that she's getting a feeling where you need to go. And I don't know what that looks like. So I want to see a scene. You guys are walking down the side of a dune. Bryn has now 3 or 4 times apologized and taken you back to the right path. Each time it seems that you've gotten further and further away. Hours are going by in between this. You feel like it should have been twilight by now. And while the sun does seem to be going down, it's still just this brutal sky. Bryn, you know that the days on the fire planet are very long. And so in this, Tag, you pop back out of the phase state, and having a focal point now to look at, you realize that you guys have been wandering for much longer than you had in the past. Bryn, the reason I would say before you jump into this scene, the reason that I think that you keep zoning out is I feel like the closer you get to this place, the more that draw on your energy is. It's nothing that would cause you a mechanical, like negative to a roll in a fight, but I think psychologically over the course of hours, even just having, a thread being pulled, because I imagine magic is the core of your existence, and so any kind of alteration is going to affect you. And so you're walking down from the sun side into the shade when Tag realizes you guys are going in the wrong direction, and take it away.
Your elegance. Sorry, Bryn. Old habit. Just seems like maybe now, especially being on your planet, it would serve to lean into the formality a bit more.
It's okay. You can still call me Bryn.
Okay. Well, look, it's my job to do a couple things in balance. You are my duty, you are my bind. It's my job to support and elevate you in your feelings, and it's also my job to support and elevate you in your health. And right now, that second is going to take priority over the first. We are going the wrong way, and I mean no offense, but we need to get where we're going or we're going to be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, I keep losing. There's this thread, and I keep losing it. But then, if I can just focus well enough, I can get it again. It's just there. It's like it keeps going out of my grasp, and it makes me feel like my mother is there, but I keep losing it. I don't know. I've never ever lost it before, so I just need to focus. That's all I need to do. I just need to stop. I need to focus. I need to listen.
You're probably right. It's also possible that, silly as it sounds, the opposite might be true. I know sometimes we had there's a little body of water in the center of the monastery. And we used to go there just in our off hours, and we'd skip rocks. And when I was doing it sort of meditatively without thinking about it, my mind was on something else. I could get 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 skips of a stone. But every so often, Violet would challenge me to these competitions. We'd have these sort of championship stone skipping runoffs, and when there were some stakes on the line, for example, cooking the other dinner, I would just throw these plunkers that would sink right into the lake. So forgive the story. All I mean is that maybe conserve your energy, maybe rest, maybe take care of yourself. We're going to get there. We're going to get to where your mother is, and we need you to have that focus ready. It's not disappearing.
But who's gonna do it? Nobody's familiar with this planet.
You're going to do it, but you don't need to be taxing yourself right now.
Well, where will we go? Are we just gonna set up camp?
We're going to go as far as we can and is safe. If you'll allow me, I'll take a bit more of a lead in the navigation to give you the opportunity to conserve your strength. We'll camp when we need, and we'll get to your mother as soon as humanly possible.
How do you know where to go?
I've seen it. I saw it in the phase. I don't understand it. But this planet, it bubbles. Looking at the ground of the phase is like looking at fire. And in between those flames, in between the dunes, I just saw a little light in the distance. It's nothing spiritual. I just physically saw it.
Did you phase when we first landed?
Just to look at the ship. I wasn't paying attention really to the rest of the world. I should have seen this earlier, and it's on me.
Okay. All right. I'm sure if you want to take over for a little bit, and maybe it'll let me recharge and find the thread again.
I think that's a great word, recharge.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay. I feel like this conversation was probably private. Would you feel that it was telepathic or out loud?
I was thinking of it out loud.
Yeah, me too. I don't know that I have the mental energy to have done that.
Okay. So we'll say that you guys exchange this idea and this understanding, and that Tag, walking alongside the summoner, helps lead the way without taking the obvious lead. You guys work for several more hours. You are nearing the end of your rations, and you get the impression that as the sun is finally beginning to set, you have perhaps been on the move for well over 12 hours. And you see in the distance, towards the top of a dune, what looks like sandstone has risen out and created the first solid kind of rock structure that you could have seen. It's not civilization, it's just in this world of sand, you now see a big flat face of rock that could be a potential campsite. If you are going to rest and recharge, as Tag said, this could be the spot. And as you start to head in the direction, which does not veer you far from Tag knowing where to go, you do... Bryn, Puck, Tag, roll plus weird, please.
13.
9.
7.
Not bad.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go with. I was just trying to get a gauge of who I think would be most sensitive to it, and I think Bryn is obviously gonna be who it is. So, as you're moving and you've been kind of coasting over the top of your home planet, and feeling this familiar feel, you do start to feel an intrusion in that energy, as you've let yourself open up and try to relax, as Tag cautioned you to do. You've just been kind of riding that buzz of the chaos beneath your feet, and you do feel kind of like that pull you guys would feel on the Bloom world when you felt that your connection was being plucked. And it is coming from behind you. And when you turn, you don't see much at first, just an endless sea of dunes behind you that you've been walking forever, it feels. And you turn back. But as you continue towards this sandstone, you get to about maybe 200 yards of it. You crest another dune, and you cannot shake this feeling. And the rest of the party, you notice that Bryn is now looking over her shoulder constantly. You do see, what at first you took for a mirage, maybe at the top of a dune, movement behind you. And when you clue into that, you see that it is a steady stream of movement. There's actually what looks like sand sliding in about a 10-foot channel down the dune towards you guys. It is several hundred yards behind you. But you can see that whatever this is now going up the side of another dune, and it is still heading towards you.
It's a semi-snake, a semi-serpent. It's coming.
I think we need to strap some TNT on top of a remote-controlled car, sit on top of a rock, and let the rest take care of itself.
I, too, prefer Tremors 2 to Tremors 1.
Did you? It's good, right?
I will have to check it out. I will check them out back to back and get back to you guys. Sounds like there was a sandstone fixture ahead of us.
It's about 200 yards ahead. By the time you guys notice something's behind you, I'd say 100 yards. So you've got something about 100 yards behind you, and you got a sandstone surface about 100 yards ahead.
Run right now. Everybody run. Run to the sandstone. Get on solid ground.
Okay, cool. I think that you, Puck, are going to have, because you spoke first, and it is your reflex that keys the group, you're going to roll and act under pressure for the group to see how quickly you can run through sand to get towards the sandstone.
Okie doke. Here we go, guys. Look, this is a win-win, because if I fail, it'll be my 5th failure, and I think
Hey!
So
everybody.
it's win-win, guys. Win-win. Win-win. You said plus whatever my highest plus is? Is that
Plus cool?
plus cool? All right, that's not bad. That's
Yeah,
not
you're
bad.
cool as hell.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. All right, here we go. Okay, that would have been nice. One of them fell off, so I'm going to re-roll.
Honorable man.
That is an 8.
Okay, cool. So you, Puck says run, and everybody jumps on it because you've seen Bryn get paranoid. You've seen her looking over her shoulder, and everybody sees the sand moving, and you guys take off. And as you continue to run and look over your shoulder, you do see that this thing is gaining on you, whatever it is. But in the trail that it's leaving, as this moving serpentine shape is traveling through the sand, you see that the sand is actually glassing over above it, as though it is melting. And this thing is cruising towards you. You do, at the last second, hop up onto the sandstone and feel it, boom, shake, as whatever it was just rammed straight into it. And then there is silence. And after a few minutes, you do see that there is a 10-foot hole that begins to form as though a funnel has been put, and burning sand is draining out of it. It creates a small pit, but then there is silence.
Oh, that was exciting. We almost got eaten or melted.
Learn about
Good call, Casey, on the Sammy Serpents being, connecting the dots there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I have to give Sam Hagen some credit for that. I think his deductive investigation skills have rubbed off on me. Also, even though the heat doesn't bother me, I have a feeling that if I was inside one of them, it wouldn't be comfortable. So
You could probably punch your way out of it, though.
That's
Yeah.
true.
yeah, and maybe even your assless chaps would protect you from some of the heat.
Oh yeah, as we were running, his front capris were just like flapping wildly.
Yes. Butt cheeks just bouncing in the wind.
Bryn, I do have to give you top marks for your parallels fitness.
This is what I think happens.
Everybody got thirsty for tag again.
As the sun is setting, it is a long sunset, and you all are treated to a beautiful, beautiful, fiery sunset. You make camp as best you can. I don't think it's a stretch to say that you're able to fashion a shelter out of the parachute that you've been carrying with you. There's not much to stack it on, but you're able to find kind of these like niches in the sandstone that create a natural wall and lay a tarp over the top. Bryn is able to draw on the energy of the planet as the winds turn at the nighttime and it gets cold, very cold, surprisingly so. She's able to draw on her home planet and produce some fire, perhaps guiltily. And you guys spend the evening in the middle of this dune sea. There is no sign of whatever it was that chased you. The hole in the ground seems to have been it going down and the sand following suit. There is no more of it as you are there. Before night is certain and you guys all sleep, is there anything that you would like to do? Is there any scenes you would like to have before we end this day of your journey?
Well, please. No, Rex, please.
I pull out my little Tupperware of water, and I go down and I sit next to Puck, and I kind of crack the lid open and I take a sip, trying out of the corner real carefully, and then I say, I never got an opportunity to thank you for your work with those guards. I think you're a kind of a natural leader, and they really seem to respond to you.
Oh, that's high praise coming from the leader. I like to think of myself as one of the folks.
And then, surreptitiously in my pocket, I kind of reach in and I click on the disrupt anything listening.
That's right, you did build one of those freaky things.
I did. We didn't name it yet. I don't have a good name for it. If anyone in chat has a good name for it, or if you have a good name.
I'm like in Disruption Cube. I will happily turn that decision over if we get something better from chat. But for now, we're going to work with Disruption Cube.
Yeah. Excommunicator is pretty good too. I like both of those. And I say, I'm sorry I wasn't able to help you with your question. The only person I know who could handle something of that magnitude without destroying you is currently on the run. But you have my promise that I will try and get in contact with him and communicate your situation to him.
Well, I really appreciate that. Yes, it's an awkward situation to be a part of, but you're so, sensitive to my needs, and you just do such a good job of taking care of your little dinosaur. It's just, I know you met Sam first, but I'm just glad to be part of the team.
Well, I'm embarrassed by his compliments and, visibly discomfited by them. And I kind of, give him that, little buddy punch.
Hey, Rex, that's amazing. You can change colors too. Is it because it's getting cold?
Yep, I'm cold. And I'd forgotten about, how crystalline his structure is, and I'm kind of rubbing my knuckles a little bit.
To mimic the sign of affection, Puck is also going to just put his fist against Rex and not make impact, but like make full contact, and then just give like a little push, just like.
She falls over.
Hey, that makes us friends.
Tag, Bryn, Puck, sorry.
Just one offer to the group. I'd like to try to make a campfire so I can try my first crack at a campfire song.
I think we have a campfire.
Yeah, Bryn is able to whip up a fire for you.
Ooh. So, as an apology for cheating at Crazy Eights, Hank was singing a song in the canteen, and I figured it would be great for a round. It's one of those songs where I sing a part, and then somebody else sings a part, and they all stack. It just seems like it brings luck and cheer. And, I know that everyone up there is, missing us, especially you guys, because, well, they've known you longest. All right, so I'll give you each your line, and then the line goes. Let's see. Yes. Drinking is fun. Drinking is fun. Yep. Yum. Drinking is fun. Yes, that Hank. So creative. One of my favorite. To be honest, I don't care for Hank much. Honestly.
He's kind of a sour fellow.
Yes, he is. In fact, perhaps I'll just enjoy the firelight with you and not taint it with his obviously malaligned lyricism.
Oh, I am.
I think we need at least one round of the campfire song.
We gotta try. We're here. We gotta. Yeah.
I believe in the spirit of row, row, row your boat.
I was just thinking that, yeah.
Drinking is fun. Yep. Yum. Drinking is fun.
Drinking is fun. Drink your heart out. No, go on with it, yeah.
Yeah.
I think you're gonna have to take the lead here.
Drinking is fun. Yum, yum.
Yum,
Drinking is
yum.
fun.
Fun.
Drinking is fun.
Fun.
Drink.
Drink.
Fun.
Drinking's fun. What is the rest of it?
Drink. It's fun.
Fun.
Drinking is fun.
Drink.
Drinking is fun.
Fun.
Drink is
Fun.
Drinking is
In
fun.
this very awkward and stumbly way, because this is the first time any of you have sang together and you're all feeling a little weird and bashful. Despite how uncomfortable it makes you at first, you do all lean into it, and you spend some time helping Puck recover from not being able to produce anything better than Hank's lyrics. And each of you go around the fire and you share a little song from your home world. You're up for just long enough. By the time the snake jerky's gone, you're all passed out. I think Rex has the idea to keep watch, but she fades before anything is set in stone.
Yep.
And the sun sets on the fire world, and the first day of your journey is complete. And we're going to take a quick 2-minute break.
Fuck, I don't have any nearby.
What do you need?
A new
We're
book.
back.
Going to the
Oh,
book.
we're back.
Right, the book. Reading time with Void Jumpers every Wednesday night. So here's what's happening. You guys are in camp, and the sun goes down, and the stars are dim through that layer of magical energy, but they are present and they are vast and numerous. You all wake feeling pretty shitty. You wake before the sun is fully
It's
risen.
not where I thought that was going. I thought we were going to be like rested and ready to hit the
Not
desert.
quite. You guys did quite well during your journey, but everybody takes 2 harm. This bypasses all armor because it is a general health that is happening to you. It is based on your combat of heat, dehydration, hunger, and navigation.
Does Puck's immortality get its regular bonus, the -1 to harm?
No, and I think that the reason why is because you are overcompensating for your lack of feeling in regards to heat, these things and needing to eat, because you have made it clear that you use empathy to connect instead of physicality. I think that the state of your party is also draining you as well. And so you have a restless night. Whatever you need to recharge, you just don't fully get. So it's less about being beaten down by the elements and a little bit more about being a little too connected to everybody's well-being.
I'm connected enough, you mean?
Yeah. So you also take 2 harm. Is anybody unstable? Tag.
I have -3 harm.
Okay,
I have 3 harm.
You're close.
I also have
took
3
one,
harm.
Rex. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys are close. You guys don't feel good at all. Tag is limping. That kick that he gave, which seemed like kind of just like a funny stub toe at the beginning, is now starting to be more of a prolonged limp. Rex, your feet are blistered. You've done what you can, but peeling your socks off of them was a horrible experience that you had to endure. And you've got a med pack, and you have treated them. They're not going to become infected. You've even put a splint on Tag's toe, but it's just... all you're doing is walking, like you're not going to be able to keep your feet up, and so you're feeling bad. Bryn, Puck, it's just more of a general sense of you feel like shit. You kind of feel hungover. What's interesting is that when you wake, even though you do not feel rested, the sun, having not risen yet, does make you feel that you could make time when it is cooler in the day. Where you are at on this sandstone outcropping has put you at a decent elevation in regards to the tops of many dunes, and you do see in the distance that you have been traveling a little bit more concertedly since Tag took over navigation, a twinkling. Bryn, it does not look like the twinkling you would see outside your home city. It is not quite to that level of society, but it does not look natural. This is not some weird effect. This seems to be light, perhaps even fire. And you see it in the distance that you've already been traveling. And I believe that you would continue on. You're running low on rations. But as the sun begins to rise and the dunes begin to heat again and the mirage becomes this constant line of glass on every surface, you do see movement again ahead of you. You see, it takes a second. Heat radiates off the dune slope ahead, so you are slow to recognize the movement. When you stop to shade your eyes to focus on the landscape ahead, you notice a lone traveler. They are wrapped in fabrics to protect their skin from the sun and the heat. They walk slowly yet surely, and unless you are mistaken, they are heading your way.
Travelers out here?
A single traveler. They're making their way down a dune. They are still a good distance off. Bryn, you do have a strange sensation. You can't be sure because they are well wrapped in what you know to be the exploration, the local version of exploration gear. Mm-hmm. The posture, the height, the potential hem of a robe coming out from underneath, it makes you think of your mother. And what do you do?
Go up to him.
Sure. As you approach, you pull ahead from the party and they struggle to keep up. This person turns theatrically and heads back up the hill, going back the way that they came, in the direction of those twinkling lights that you had seen from a distance. And you crest the dune, and they seem to have doubled the distance.
What?
And they are standing on the dune across from you. And Bryn, you're now charging forward, pulling the party with you, and as you near, it's though this traveler is starting to let you catch up. You're less certain that it is, in fact, your mother. What was maybe the hem of a robe seems to be the strap of a bag with a reflective surface on it. They don't seem to be standing quite so tall as when you first noticed, which is interesting because, Rex, you've seen somebody wearing clothes to protect them from the elements, and you've seen them move slowly but surely through dangerous territory, and you're pretty sure that's actually Tara at the top of the dune ahead of you, which is strange because the last place you saw her was on Bloom, but you did drop the barrier and you don't know what happened to her. What do you do?
I take off after her.
You see Bryn slow down because she's no longer certain, and you guys catch up panting, and before Rex is able to question her about why she's running away from the group, she catches sight of this person and takes off in their direction. Again, you crest this dune. Everybody's now panting and sweating. You're running away from the canopy, so you're starting to feel the sun burn you up. But as you crest, they seem to have doubled the distance, and you barrel down the hill, and again, they are starting to duck and weave and almost dance. And by the time you catch up, again, you're not so certain. What looked like maybe weapons attached to their pack are just walking sticks, and they don't appear that... You're just not sure it's Tara, because how the hell would she have gotten off of Bloom and beat you here if you're the only one who can get through the atmosphere? Which is when Puck looks up and realizes that this feminine figure you've been chasing is a little bit more masculine, actually. And the wraps look to be more of a long coat. And is that a turban on their head, or are they wearing more of like a fedora?
It's Sim! Hey! Oh, that's great! Oh, we're cured! I gotta go to... Oh, he probably needs sandwiches! Oh, I gotta get him under the canopy! I take off after Sam.
This time the figure does not retreat. Sam waits for you at the top of this dune, and as you crest it, Puck, you realize that you're not sure what you saw, because, Tag, it's Violet, and she's waiting for you at the top. And she's got her hip cocked, and she looks a little silly, like she's in a funny mood, and she is wrapped in the gear of somebody who is protecting themselves from the sun, but she has now unwound the scarf that has been collected around her face, and Violet is standing there. You can see her hair underneath, and all of her gear is made from very, very thin linen. She's carrying a pack. It did not have weapons like Rex initially thought. It just had some walking sticks, but Violet is standing right in front of you.
Bryn, this is the best news. Your parallel is here, the one that should have been assigned to you, the one that will know all the right things and do the right things and have the answers. Violet!
She smiles, and though she seems confident, she doesn't feel... It looks as though she's uncertain of what to say. She breathes in to speak, but waits, and then places a hand on Tag's shoulder and says, "I'm sorry, Summoner. I came as quickly as I could. I failed my trial, but have spent the time since working to replace Tag." And Tag, you feel a little itch almost in the part of your memory when you think of the night that you spoke to Violet on that rooftop, and she was expressing her fear of the coming trial, and when she failed and the knife plunged into another one of the parallels in training, and you feel this itch scratching this part of your memory, and Violet squeezes your shoulder and says, "Summoner, I have worked, and I'm ready to protect you."
I'm sorry. Bryn, this is Violet. This is, a friend, and I'm just kind of I've been standing in for her. I didn't think that she was gonna be here. Violet, hi.
Why did you appear as my mother to me?
I'm sorry?
You appeared as Tara to me.
Hey, Sam, what's in your head?
It's not uncommon for people to start to lose their head in the heat. It looks like you've been out here for a long time. I can take you to safety. I know a place nearby where we'll be able to eat and drink.
Why are you out here? Nobody comes out here. It's dangerous.
I came to find you, Summoner. That's my job. I'm going to be bound to you. Once we sever your connection to Tag, I can take his place.
I'm gonna
And I
read
will
back
lead
the
you to safety.
situation. I'm gonna invest. I want to know if this is really her.
Roll it.
I got a fucking question here.
You're actually going to roll Investigate a Mystery for a reason.
Okay.
So, does she now appear as Violet to everyone, or she appears as each individual Mirage to everyone?
She is Violet. She's holding
What?
you too. Yeah, she is Violet. She's holding you. That is it's not a mirage.
Well,
She
just
is
a second
your
ago, she
children.
was Sam and Tara and Bryn's mom.
Oh,
That's what she looked like.
can I use a couple luck?
Yeah, absolutely. It only costs one. One luck brings you to a full success. You mark off the luck on your sheet. You never get it back, but you get to a full success on this roll.
Yeah, I'm doing that.
Okay, cool. You get a full success. We're gonna have a flashback. There was a moment on Haven before you left in which Bryn ran into the librarian and some items that the professor left behind were exchanged. The librarian or the archivist on the ship was then asked by Bryn to look into what to expect on the Fire Planet, and specifically a race of individuals from folklore that Bryn has heard of.
She was also asked to see if she had the newest editions of the Tough Club
Of
series
Tough Club? Yeah.
available.
When you got back to your bunk, there was 3 books. 2 you had already read. She must have been a little bit back, but a new version, which you
A
had.
new freaking Tough Club?
I forgot about Tough Club.
Bryn,
Tough
you asked her her name. Nobody asked her name, and it was very rude, but it's cool because you guys are all really important, and she's just somebody who works on the ship and does a lot to make sure that you guys have the information you need when leaving. But it's cool. Her name, she says when she comes, is Kef Telf. Kef Telf. She's the archivist on Haven. And
Kef, like Kefir?
Kef. K-E-F-F. Telf.
Kef.
I'm
Kef
from the
Telf?
Blight Planet, as we established, and everyone there sounds like I do, and they have similar names. So if you have any fucking jokes, save them up.
Am I in this flashback right here in this?
Somebody better clip that.
This is a post-it note on the top of my Tough Club books. It says, "Hey, this is from Cliff Claff. Just so you know, I'm from the Lightning Planet. We all have these names, so don't fucking say anything, you fucking twat."
The bookmark, it's laminated.
She's clearly has these in production.
You asked her to look into the Tine, and she said she had a couple old volumes in which they might be referenced.
Right.
She, on your journey to this planet, she did approach you and knocked or rang the whatever the fucking sci-fi doorbell is on your VIP suite. And she came in and she said she was carrying a stack of, and she said, "Summoner," and she bowed and said, "I've been poring over the volumes that we have. There aren't many, but I feel like I found all that I can about the Tine."
All right. Thank you.
You're going to get your investigative mystery questions now.
Oh, she's not giving me the books. She's just read them for me.
I'm going to decide how useful they are by what you say, and then I will give you this information.
Okay. Okay. And how many do I get?
I'm going to give you 3
Okay.
because you burned a luck.
What sort of creature are the Tine?
Um,
I mean, I've heard that they're evil fairies that ruin our crops and poison our water, but I'm wondering now if that's maybe embellished.
there is some children's tales that have been summarized in the back of some of these books, but what I found to be the most useful resource when investigating this are journals that had been donated by your family to be archived. We have a couple of them. It seems to have been a summoner, what would have been 2 back, so your great-great-grandmother would have written these journals. And Eliza, yes.
Eliza.
She's
Not Peggy.
Not Peggy. Summoner Eliza. It's an incomplete set. She seemed to be very dedicated to keeping track of how she ran the affairs of your planet. And I think that it has affected the way that those that have come after her have dealt with things. She seems to have been very just and kind, but also very strict. And what's interesting is there are rumors in these journals that the fire summoners, that they're in bed with the company, and that they have been for a long time. And so I just wanted to let you know, when we start talking about the Tine, they seem to be a tool that's been used by your family to hide this information. Little is known of the Tine. In fact, the little I found were few references in these journals. I can read this here for you if you'd like.
Yes, please do.
This is in her hand. So these are not my summaries, they are opinions of her own. They are tricky devils, the Tine, and share many a quality with the fire they often imitate. I've known the same Tine messenger by several faces, so it's no great leap to say they're shapeshifters. What I find most troubling is the image they present, for each is a friend or acquaintance, a shade drawn from my own memory, to create a familiar face. I've often been put off my guard to find a recently deceased bodyguard or off-world ally present in my meeting chamber. They've made themselves useful to our family these past years, providing all the superstition necessary to keep my people from wandering into the deserts. As if the landscape were not inhospitable enough, the Tine play a fine ghost or evil spirit. It goes on to, the journal goes on to describe some of the trade, the mining that she's been referencing with the company, but I don't think it'll be much use to you.
All right. All right. I have 2 more questions.
Mm-hmm.
God, you've answered so much. What can hurt the Tine?
From what I see, many of the indigenous creatures on your planet who are wound close with the energy that comes from within it, the fire, seem to have weaknesses to water.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yes, it's a strange relationship. They avoid it. It is almost like agoraphobia. And so they feel a mental aversion, and this manifests in many different ways. Some feel it worse than others, but even when they are not in a form which radiates flame, water does seem to cause them distress, if not deal damage to them.
Okay. We didn't. This is hard because you've answered so much. What is being concealed about them that you haven't told me?
There is a section of the journal which addresses their true form. It's very brief. It seems that your great-great-grandmother, Eliza, worked very hard to catch one of these devils, as she put it, in between forms. She said it was like trying to catch a ghost. And she believed that their true form was a much more pure essence of the fire that they rely on, and perhaps not entirely corporeal. And with this, we are now brought back to the present, and you are all standing on the top of a dune, and Violet is standing in front of you, and she said, I know that Tag has done as his best. I would love to take you to a place where we can get you fed and watered and take the time necessary to formalize our bond and sever yours.
Yes, absolutely. I think that would be wonderful. And I reach into my pack and I grab the last of my water and I go to drink it and I accidentally dump it on her.
It's like a paper is ripped out from in front of you and a hole forms where Violet was just standing. There is smoke and fire which leaps away from the water and creates a ring around it and then reforms, and it's your mother, and she says, what if I told you about playing with your food?
You actually have never told me about playing with my food because we've never really dined together. So I know you are not my mother.
There's a shimmer, and the figure before you changes into a face that you are all familiar with, and Captain Matt Vansel appears in front of you and says, he says, well played, travelers. How do you fare on our fine dune sea?
Can I tune in on this monster?
Sure.
Great. I'm going to re-roll both according to Casey's methodology, which I respect. Thanks, Casey, for that 14, baby.
Hello. Heyo.
Respect.
Yeah. What would you like?
So it's going to give me some questions, yeah, but then I also will get to realign the target's thoughts. But let's start with, what is it planning to do right now?
You get the sense that the talk of a safe place was honest.
Oh. Okay. Who is it going to attack?
It doesn't seem to have any feelings of aggression toward any of you. It almost seems more amused than anything else. It doesn't even seem upset about the water.
All right, I'm just going to throw out my last question. I think I know what's going on here, but who does it regard as the biggest threat?
Bryn.
Okay.
It's a strange thing because what you're looking for is perhaps combat being your gauge, but it seems to be much more of a standing, a political threat would be the correct term. It's not afraid of Bryn or, huh?
That it is making.
That they that's their fear. It is perceiving Bryn as a threat to them politically. They don't seem to be afraid of anything, but they are aware of her station, I guess.
Well, I was going to realign my target's thoughts to make it an ally. It seems like perhaps it might be more of an ally than this deception would have led us to believe. So let me change that realignment to I don't know if the Tine. Let's just play it out. I want the deception to drop, and I want to have as much of an honest interaction with this creature as possible. That's the realignment that I want.
Sure. The mental state of this creature does not change. You feel feedback when you try and alter its thoughts in a way that you've never experienced with a sentient creature before. What you've come up against is something primal. It is older than you have ever experienced. And it bats your attempt to realign it away as if it's swatting a fly. There is an effect that happens though, because its camouflage does burn away. And so while you are not able to alter its thinking, you are able to diffuse its ability to cloak itself. And standing in front of you is a slightly shorter, more lithe than bulky.
Gilbert Gottfried.
Gilbert Gottfried, yes. No, it actually kind of looks like Puck, though much smaller and more of a sleek design. It does not seem to be the bruiser that Puck is.
Hey.
And it is crackling with live flames,
He's
but
a gentle giant.
you don't feel any heat coming from the fire that is radiating off of this creature's body. And it stands there before you and says, "Ah, a fellow nudist, I see."
What a bunch of weirdos all wearing clothes.
I was actually motioning to this your friend wearing the front capris.
Oh yeah, he's coming around. He likes the more airy apparel.
Wait, have these not been accidents that have rendered me pantless by your hand?
Just trying.
Conspiracy.
Part of the team.
It's a pantspiracy.
A pantspiracy?
I mean, really, if you look around the group, how many pairs of pants do you see?
2.
Too many. I don't know. we're gonna go.
The creature introduces itself and says, "Well, travelers, my name is Zeem, and it's a
Zeem?
pleasure to meet you."
What is? Hang on. Where's Violet?
Oh. Tag.
Oh, Violet. Yes. She's not here. I don't know where she is.
You don't know?
No.
How did you know to be her?
Oh, it was just a thought you had trailing through your brain. It seemed relevant.
You
was
can
for
read
your
our
benefit,
thoughts?
humans. I realized that me taking the form of someone close to you would put you at ease.
Well, that didn't work. I feel much more ill at ease.
Oh, well. Whoops.
I like.
You're the Tine? I didn't even know you guys really existed. It's like,
Oh, we do, Summoner. I am one of the Tine, one of many. I have come, I guess I've come to seek your help.
my help. Do you know where my mother is? I can't get a hold of her. I'm worried.
I do not know where your mother is. We've lost our ability to make contact with the palace.
Me too.
The wastes are a dangerous place these days. In ways that I have never experienced, and I have experienced them from their inception.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah, you gotta give us a lot more information than that.
Oh, well, I'm deathless, and I was born when this planet was born.
Go to
And I guess in that entire time, which was a long time, I've never been as afraid as I am now.
You mean you're native to this planet?
I am.
Are you happy with your life?
Oh, I love it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
But the way that she asked that introduced the first seed of doubt, existential dread the Tine had ever felt. He brought it back with him to his colony, introduced the idea that perhaps there was a purpose that was evading them, all of them. That perhaps time was nothing more than a leash pulling it closer to its inevitable, meaningless lack of existence at the end of the world.
What a depressing thought I just had.
Good session, everybody.
Summoner, I meant what I said. I know a place that is safe. It is the home of my people, and I would like to take you there, for we need your help.
Well, guys, I don't think we have much options at this point. We're running low on provisions. We're tired. We're hot. I don't think Rex's feet could take much more.
My feet are fine.
we have to agree.
Rex is bleeding profusely from her feet. She's just standing in a pool of her own blood.
All right, take us to your people.
You got it.
Is it
Would you
towards the palace, though? I would rather not divert off track.
It is not far off of the path that you are following. You can see the hole in the sky, yes?
Yeah.
She's the Tine is looking at Tag when they say this.
No. What? Huh? No. What?
The place where all of the fire is retreating into. You can see this?
Oh. Well, for other people, just explain it as if, I couldn't see it.
Sure. Shortly
Which-
after
yeah.
the explosion happened, near your home, the palace, there was a great pull in the energy of this planet, and it has not ceased. All of our magic, I think is the word you use, yes. And there's a little arm that you see that reaches out and puts its hand on Tag's elbow and gives it a little squeeze and says, yes, magic. And all of the memories start to come through your mind, and they feel itchy as you learning for the first time what magic is, and kind of like magic theory. And the Tine squeezes you a little bit and says, yes, magic. Excellent. What a fun word. Yes, so as soon as that explosion happened at your palace, all of the magic on this planet started to be consumed
by
the hole
the hole.
in the sky.
Sky.
Which is why if you look out here, and the Tine puts a hand on your shoulder, Bryn, and the moment that there's contact, you flip over into the phase state. And you are now looking across the Dune Sea, and you can see those roiling hills as the waves are crashing, and they do all seem to be pulling towards one spot on the horizon. An emptiness, a negative place, one which you've seen the presence of before.
Right.
In
and
your
says-
nightmares.
In your nightmares. And if you have been following this, I've been tracking for you for some time, and it seems once this young man with the front capris caught on to the direction, you didn't head far from the path. So, I think that it won't be far from where you're headed. We live a ways out into the wastes, but within a short distance of your palace, we have many reasons to keep our proximity and keep our relations with your family amicable.
Could you help us get to the palace?
Indeed, Summoner. If you are able to help us get to the palace, it seems that there is something that has created a problem when it comes to crossing the wastes from our village to your palace. I believe you had a run-in with it shortly.
Oh, the Sammy Serpents?
Yes. What a wonderful name for that!
I don't know. We made it up
referring
as
to it
kids.
as the Elder Viper, but I love Sammy Serpent.
Bryn, for the first time, feels really stupid.
No!
Just doesn't say
Sammy
anything.
Serpents is great.
Yes, the Sammy Serpent. I believe it gave you a bit of a run. It's been patrolling the wastes between your palace and our village, seeking to disrupt our ability to help those who live around your palace. And in a way that I've never experienced, for I've never had to think of death in any concrete manner besides the anecdote that your friend told me to sow a seed of depression into my very happy being. My people are being consumed by this creature. We have had instances where we have been dispersed or returned to the energy of the planet, but often we return in one form or another. I myself have experienced this twice, but all of my memories are retained. However, when the serpent consumes something, they are gone. I think the word you would use is forever.
That's so sad. They weren't very big growing up. I don't know what happened. They were small.
Oh, to compare that thing to those serpents, those Sammy serpents which crawled out of the dunes, would be like comparing that drill you came across in the wastes to a screwdriver.
Oh, yeah. Oh boy. Okay. You really don't poison our crops and our water?
No, but we do keep up the illusion of that, as per your mother's orders.
My mother gave those orders?
Of course. We do what we can to create chaos and fear in the wastes to keep your people away from what the company's doing in the mines out here.
Well, then why is the Firewalker competition still allowed to go on?
Interesting. The Firewalker competition goes in a direction far from any mine, and no one's really said to have made any headway into the wastes. It's easy for us to keep that way clear, or to create sandstorms that herd your people like animals. Mortal animals.
There's a lot that people did not let me know. It's a lot for me to
Surprising.
take in.
You would think that because you are the heir apparent of this planet, you would have been let in on all these secrets. I'm sorry that I had to break them to you in so brash a way.
Right. I feel slighted. All right. Just lead the way. Is there drinks?
Oh! Sure. Bryn, roll plus weird.
Plus weird. All right. 12.
Excellent. So you see the Tine dig into the ground, and after about 2-3 feet worth of just shoveling sand out, it comes across this sandstone-like foundation beneath, something that's close to what you camped on, and works at it to dislodge a chunk. And then, kind of looking around, holds it up as if to say, like, bring me your glasses. And I think that Bryn probably pops her boot back off. Rex pulls out the Tupperware. Tag just opens his mouth and points it upwards. And you see the Tine actually wring this rock out as though it's a rag. And from it, a very small amount of water is deposited into each of your receptacles. Bryn, what you recognize immediately is though there isn't very much of it, the water that is here is different than the rain you conjured. This is the water from the river which circles the palace.
How do you have a direct line to that water? I know this water.
Oh, I would say that your river has a direct line to our wastes.
Oh.
Do you want to tell them a little bit about your water, Bryn?
Yeah, so when there was the big war before I was born, the collision of magic that destroyed my palace also imbued the river around our house with healing powers. So it's the kind of water that if you have to ingest it. It can't be applied topically, but when you ingest it, it immediately works to heal whatever is wrong with you. But because we're not sure how long the supply is, it's very controlled with how much people can actually take from the water. It's regulated. But yeah, it's been incredible. We have a very healthy civilization. I mean, unless you get your head chopped off, there's no fixing that. But other than that,
what if what's wrong with you is like mainly a self-esteem issue?
I mean, everybody's very confident and has strong convictions, so it might help that.
Looking forward to this. I mean, Tag. Looking forward to this.
Tag, you make an interesting point, and I'm just curious, for someone who seems to have a very clear value structure and a lot of courage in following that and protecting those that you care about, it seems like you'd have a significant amount of self-confidence.
Oh, I mean, they say that the things that screw you up in life are your parents. But now I'm starting to think, yeah, good point.
Well, so then maybe the real question you're asking then is not about self-confidence, but about how you value yourself.
Well, wouldn't that be self-valuation? Kind of the same. Isn't confidence a product of self-valuation?
Not always, because you can feel free to do things and maybe not even think yourself worthy of the things that you're doing. I think perhaps, there's maybe some soul searching to be done so that you can view yourself as pleasantly as we all clearly do.
Tag says, well, thanks, and makes a mental note to pursue this conversation later, and bashfully tries to put his hands in his pockets, but ends up just running them on his bare thighs, just right under those front-facing capris.
As everybody throws back what is really just a thimbleful of this water. You are all healed 1 harm. And the Tine says, it's interesting the way that you view the waters of the river. They were not caused by the collision of magics after the Great War. They were drawn there, like a magnet being moved through sand and collecting iron filings. There's not very much water on this planet, and most of it has been taken to the river surrounding your palace. It's why I'm not able to produce more for you now. It is a finite resource. The reason I tell you this is because of the hole in the sky. As I said, as the Tine are dispersed, they are returned. Our memories stay, our forms are given to us again, and we grow and we live, and then we change into what we change into next. And I imagine that I will do so many times if I am not devoured by the Sammy Serpent, which is keeping me from your palace. But
You don't have to call it that. You can call it the elder whatever.
oh, I've already forgotten what we used to call it. The new name is so good. I bring this up because the water is finite. The Tine are finite. We don't make any more. There are only those of us who are here. But the serpent devours us and we do not return. The hole in the sky pulls the fire of this planet towards it, and it does not return. While the energy here has always kept us repeating, this anomaly, this change, which was brought about by the explosion, it is making things disappear in a way that I've never seen, and that's why I said I've never felt the fear that I have now.
Is it fun?
Fear?
Yeah.
In so much that it causes adrenaline, or what the equivalent of the Tine's adrenaline is, to course through my body and make me tingle and feel energetic. I suppose it is fun because it's a new sensation, but ultimately it feels like dread.
Oh, okay. I'd like to try that.
I do recommend it.
Oh, yes.
Well, I'm going to pop in telepathically with Bryn. I know that getting to your mother is the most important thing right now. I just have a sense that they are very, very connected, that what's happening with the Tine is what's happening with the planet, is what's happening with your mother. If you're okay with it, I think it serves us to make our stand here.
Yeah, yes. I don't think I can. I don't know how we can get there without their help anyway. And what we went through at the Bloom Planet, we already know kind of a little bit what's going on or what we can somewhat expect. But yes, if it's taking the fire from this planet, I don't even know what's going to happen if I try to use any kind of magic. I mean, I used the Eric's that has its own, but if I try to use my staff, I don't know what could happen. Like, is it going to suck all of everything that I produce up into that black hole? Or whatever color it is?
I have no way of knowing that. I think something very strange is happening here.
Right.
But he kind of reflects back a little bit on what Puck was just saying to him. And I think that you have a kind of power that far exceeds your own ideas of it. And I don't imagine whatever this phenomenon is, that it's going to render you useless in this fight. I think we're lucky to have you on our side. And I think I don't want you thinking that we're running an errand, that you're forgetting about your mother. We are going to get your mother, and this is just the path we take to get there.
All right. Thank you. I agree. I also feel really bad because there was a lot of making fun of the Tine as a kid, and they're actually pretty cool. So.
Yeah, they seem pretty cool, but they don't seem like they're really sweating the small stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I got a lot to mull over, especially if, I don't know, if they're being enslaved or you know, I don't know. I got a lot to think about when it comes to them. But for now, I would like to accept their hospitality. We can help them, and I feel like with helping them, we'll help my mother. So I just hope we can do it quick.
Yeah, let's do it.
You guys are having this conversation as the journey's already began. It is largely similar visually as the one that you took the day before, but the sandstone becomes a bit more prevalent. It is a slow build to having it be a dominant part of the landscape, and the dunes never truly go away, but there are more cliffs and rock faces. The journey is about as long as well, but with Zeem able to bring you water when you need it, it seems to also take the place of food. You get the feeling that it would not be a sufficient replacement, but for the sake of a journey that has an end, this water could sustain you. And also getting great joy out of the canopy that you've created and conjuring heat, like a thermal beneath it, to inflate it high above you and get you a bit more shade and make it easier to walk. Zeem leads you through the desert for a very long time. And it is about sundown when you reach the twinkling that you saw in the distance. It is exactly this is the Tine village that you're about to enter, and it looks exactly the way that it does in the fairy tales that they tell the children of Bryn's home planet. But I have no idea what that is, so I'm going to have Bryn describe to us what the Tine village looks like.
Well, what was written in the fables is that their village, their buildings are made out of bones, and the bones of the animals that are hunted around my village. So like the small creatures and whatnot, the rabbits, and so that their buildings are built from these bones, and then the canopies, the tops of them are like thatch, but if you get really close, it's actually rotted fruit and crops that they killed of ours they put in there. And that's, you know, it's all built on the stuff that they stole from us, is what we were told. And that it smells really bad. So looking at this village, you can actually see that it's stone that has been shaped in shapes that could look like bones, but as you get closer, it's actually this really beautiful kind of like intricate ivy sort of carvings and whatnot. And the thatched roofs are actually woven with flowers, not dead crops. And it smells like stew and mead. It doesn't smell that bad. So it's all a little surprising to me. I was lied to.
Sure, that's the village that you arrive in. It's a bit hilltop-ish. It is again on the plateau of like a sandstone cliff that rises up out of this dune sea. There doesn't seem to be any kind of consistent mountain ranges, and with the little bit of time that you spent in the phase state looking at this planet, and Bryn would have a bit more that she would have learned in like a geography tutoring session, there's these sandstone, they rise out of the ground and then last sometimes for hundreds of years, and then sometimes in the course of an evening they disappear. And so it's very difficult to track the way that the wastes work, because there seems to be temporary permanence on every front, where things have this quality of being so old. It's like the Tine. It's like you're talking to an adolescent, but the being is as old as the planet, and that is the feeling of the earth around you. And so you're in this village that is carved from the stone itself, and Zeem brings you through it, and more of the Tine are leaving their little buildings and joining this little procession that is going through this village. And you can see that they are flicking when you're not looking at them. It's almost like seeing a crowd of faces that are just kind of playing through your memories. To see them grouped, it's really trippy. To see them flick through a catalog of people. But it's this ripple effect. They recognize that Zeem has brought you in his true form, and so it's like all of these disguises are burning up in a comet's tail behind them as these faces that you recognize are slowly turning into these fire elemental type creatures as they're going. And pretty soon there's just like 100 of them. Not much more, not much less. But
that
is
is so cool. I just want to say. That's so cool.
And they bring you to the center of the village. And Zeem walks forward, and 2 other of the Tine approach, and they bring this very large porous stone crown out of a hut nearby, and then a staff that is similar in design to your mother's staff, Bryn, but a bit more raw. It's not as polished. It doesn't have all of the intricacies that hers does, and it looks to be carved from the rock that the huts are. And they place this porous rock crown on Zeem's head and hand it its staff. And it says, "All right, cool. Welcome to my village. I'm really happy you guys are here. This task that we're asking you to help with kind of decides the fate of us as a people. And we realize it's a big ask, so we're willing to really throw our weight into your cause if you can complete it so that we don't all die. But that being said, we need to know for sure that you are the right group of people to ally ourselves with, because we probably only got one shot and death has really scared the shit out of us. So we have a small test that all of you will need to partake in order to prove that you are the true summoner heir of this planet, and those of you with her are worthy of protecting her. Cool?
All right.
Cool. And I just have a sinking gut filled with panic. This idea, because I know that, no, I'm not the one who's supposed to protect her, that I'm not the one who's undergone the training. And so I'm just starting to race through what I can do to, is it going to be like an obstacle course? Okay, well, I'll go as fast as I can in the beginning, or is it going to be like, spelling bee? I'll just have to, like whatever this test is, I'm just freaking out about it.
And as you're freaking out about it, you see that your companions are staring past you, and you turn to find probably 15 or 16 of the Tine who have all assumed the form of Violet. And one of them steps forward and says, "If you feel you're unworthy, we'd be happy to sever the connection and replace you."
No, I don't want you to sever the connection. I just want to do good.
And then all of them change into, it happens kind of at the side, so maybe one of the Violets that you can't quite see by the time you look, they all become the robed figures that you know to be the elder priests type-ish monks of your order. And they're all holding out what seems to be a incorporeal form of your Void Blade. And they say, "Cool. All right, let's begin." Blackout.
Yeah.
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 Zeem may be my favorite NPC so far. And
Yeah,
that
he's
includes a lady I made out with.
Yeah, that shit's pretty dope. You know that I do not like to blow up Jesse's head, but
That's big enough.
pretty cool.
That was super fun. Did not see it going there. That was insane. Oh my gosh. All right. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. This was so fun.
Yay!
As always, let's hear where we can find you guys on the socials, starting with Jesse.
I'm at Jesse_Keeter on Twitter.
Yes. And I called you Sam. Casey?
You can find me at Case Jackalope on Facebook.
Yay!
My name.
You may want to repeat that. There was
Yeah.
kind of a loud something that drove over your sound.
I am at Case Jackalope on Instagram.
Yes. Connor?
Connor_Marks. I think that this is written at the bottom here. I think on Instagram and Twitter.
Awesome. Trin?
Trin Miller on Twitter.
Yes, easy. And I'm Lisa Coronado. You can find me on Twitter at Lisa Coronado, also on Twitch under It's a Smalls World. playing Ghost of Tsushima right now. It's really pretty amazing. And we want to thank our tech extraordinaire, Mark Thomason.
Yeah, what's up,
so
Mark?
much. Yes, and our mods, Paximo, always on it. You're amazing. Mark Worky, we love you guys so much.
We love you guys. You guys are doing it for
so
real.
Great. And to Aaron Buman for our dope intro in our music. So cool. So we've got Couriers coming up on Friday, I believe at 6 p.m. and Masters of the Metaverse Monday at 6 p.m. and then lots of fun stuff coming from Zoe for Gen Con this weekend. So if you don't have your tickets, you can get that. I know they're doing Gamers Live. We're going to do a one-off on Saturday at 4 p.m. Lots of good stuff. Oh, no Metaverse this week. Oh, no Couriers. It's all Gen Con, right? It must be all Gen Con stuff. So forget that and just check out Gen Con. Super fun.
But do join us on Saturday.
Yeah, check out us. Most importantly,
Saturday at 4 p.m.
Truly bring your friends. It seems like we've got a real tight crew that's been watching the show, and we're really grateful for you. And if you want to bring some pals in, we'd be extremely grateful for that as well. This will be an easy Saturday. You can jump in without any previous knowledge. Jesse, I think you're muted.
I was, yes. Nothing important to say.
Awesome. All right, guys.
All right.
Well, take her easy.
Everybody.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Thanks for tuning in to Book Talk.
We read Tough Club, Volume 17.
Bye-bye.